Hey, what's going on, everybody? All right. Uh, Give me 1 second here. Let me just move some shit around. How's everybody doing right now? Let's see. Aiken Xenophane says Morj on Cloud 9 with his Lakers up and Morant injured. Not to start this stream off with a basketball discussion. Maybe, okay, while I'm moving things around on my screen. I am surprisingly happy with. I'm surprised to see the Lakers are doing more. They're executing, I suppose, executing more comfortably than I expected. So once LeBron gets, actually his shit together, or actually starts trying whatever you take it, whatever you consider it to be, yeah, I think we're gonna be in a very good spot. Uh, these playoffs are gonna be very interesting. These playoffs are gonna be very, very interesting. OG3 says Kawhi is Shanks. I got a lot of opinions on Kawhi Leonard. People don't understand. I don't want to get into it. I feel like he went from what I considered underrated, because I thought he was really underrated for a while. Then he won the Raptors chip and everything like that. I was like, amazing. Like, he lived up to what I thought he was. And then I thought he went into overrated for a while, where people were saying he's better than LeBron and shit, and better than, I don't know. Yeah, better than LeBron, better than KD, better than Curry. Like, I was just like, he's not that good. He's not better than LeBron at the very least. And I thought that him blowing that 3-1 lead to the Nuggets when he had the clearly more stacked team, etc. And that was his last full playoff series that was the last time he had a full, clean, uninjured playoff series. I thought that was really, really bad, and people don't talk about that enough for some reason. They're just like, playoff Kawhi. I'm like, you guys remember the last time we talked about we talked up playoff Kawhi a lot? It was 2020. It was the season that he was supposed to rule LA and be like the new king of the NBA and like lead the Clippers and stuff. That was when we were really hyping up playoff Kawhi last time, and he fucking sucked. So I think that he became very overrated, and people for some reason really just excuse that. People forget about it. But he outplayed Kevin Durant yesterday. So at the end of the day, if he wins this series, wins the championship, then maybe he's not overrated. Maybe he is the best player. I hope he's not. All right. Anyway. Guys, let's get the stream likes up to 100. I Can Drive says, play and stream Ghost of Tsushima, Senor Morj. So I really want to play Ghost of Tsushima. It looks so good. And it's... I know it's not going to be the same as Sekiro, but, whatever. It's like, it's not on PC, so it's just out of the question for me. I can't play it. Morio Anime says, Morj, we saw Kawhi lock up LeBron, stop the hate. Look at LeBron's stats in 2014. Kawhi did not lock him up. And literally look at the last time they played this. Why are you making shit up? Look at the last time they played this year. If you actually look at the most recent Lakers-Clippers matchup, the Clippers won that game, but LeBron was really, really, really good that game. He scored really well. And on top of that, he locked up Kawhi. I don't think people realize this. If you go back and look at the last Lakers-Clippers game, LeBron straight up locked up Kawhi for the entire second half of that game. Go look at the highlights of that game again. That was like, I don't know. I thought that was one of the most impressive performances from LeBron this year. So I don't know. Like, yeah, Kawhi played good defense on LeBron and like held him to not superhuman numbers back in 2014. But if you look at LeBron and Kawhi's like actual matchups in general, ever since Kawhi became a superstar, LeBron guards Kawhi really, really well, and LeBron generally plays really well against Kawhi. Anyway, what's my opinion on Attack on Titan? I don't know. Trying to find not NBA questions because people don't want to be hearing about that. Let's at least get the stream likes to 100. Akainu's the disappointment. Okay, so let me explain what the concept of the stream today is. We're going to be grading the Marines based on how good they are as characters. Not strength, because it's just like... Strength, it's just... What do we even say about that, right? It's like... it would be too by the numbers. It's like, well, you've got admiral level, and then you've got vice admirals and stuff like that, and you got some exceptions like Garp, who they're stronger than most vice admirals. But for the most part, you don't need to do a marine strength tier list in general, because the Marines kind of do that for themselves. They've made up the ranks. They've got their own tier list going for them, right? They've already made up. They know what a tier list looks like. That's how they give people jobs in the Marines. It's like, okay, you're a brand new recruit, but you're really strong. Well, you're admiral tier, so here you go, Fujitora. You're admiral in your first week as being a Marine, right? The Marines kind of got that shit down. So we're going to talk about who's the best characters. And in that regard, I think Akainu's a great character. Is he... How do I say this? When I say he's a great character, am I considering him a great character based on the potential I think he could be? Or what he's already done in the story so far? That's up for discussion. Snap, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. I've accepted that no car, but I will still ask so you have a reason to bring up Morjcast. Is that okay? Thank you, Snap. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you guys... Oh, wait, I should bring this up, too. I think we've gotten more emotes that we can do for members and such. But, fuck, why is this freezing? Why is this freezing over here? This is not good. Okay. There's some issues going on with the second monitor. I knew I shouldn't trust technology. But yeah, let me see if I can pull up these emotes and such. For those of you who don't know, you can be if you want access to my unfiltered, more unfiltered than stream, just true, purely unfiltered thoughts, extended thoughts on all topics, all current events in One Piece, etc. You can get my podcast, which is you get access to it by being either a Yonko tier member or a $5 patron. This is kind of annoying. The second monitor is really letting me down right now. Why do I even have it if it doesn't do the thing that it's supposed to do, which is be another monitor for me? Okay. Jason Joestar says, Morj, have you seen the One Piece AMV called Greatest Story Ever Told? Maybe something like that came up on my feed, but it looked long, so I probably didn't watch it. Kainu is S tier donut manufacturer. Bogart is world's strongest swordsman, definitely strongest marine swordsman. Bogart might be a... Yeah, do the Marines not have any good swordsmen? Is Bogart the strongest marine swordsman? Is it just Bogart? Is that where the Marines are at? Man. Yeah, the Marine... Why are they not... Pirates have a lot of strong swordsmen. You got Shanks, obviously. You got Big Mom. A lot of the commanders are swordsmen. But Marines are just strangely, they just don't have swordsmen. Chino Alibacha says the Marines have felt underutilized for years. That's because the New World is supposed to be the region that is ruled by the Yonko, right? So this is their turf. The Marines are being saved for the final war when it's time to bring the fight to the world rather than just in the ocean that is the New World. Kebab says, Morj, imagine bringing Luffy beating Rob Lucci to live action and it's well done. Okay, who saw this? Let's talk about this real quick. Who saw this going around recently on Twitter? Supposedly, and this is also supposed to be a lie potentially, the One Piece live action it had some test screenings and the test screenings were terrible. Has anyone seen that? That is false, right? I feel bad even like bringing it up here, but I just want confirmation because I saw it going around on Twitter. And at first I was like, okay, that's not good. But then I saw people saying, well, this is false, it's unproven. I'm like, okay, that's good. But then I'm like, well, how do I know it's false? Like, what do I believe here? What am I supposed to believe? Anthony's Crew says, who's a better person, Akainu or Green Bull? Green Bull is a swordsman and Fuji. I think Akainu... Green Bull's shitty. Okay, we're going to pull up panels and stuff like that when we do this. We'll pull up panels to see exactly what Green Bull's philosophy is and what Akainu's philosophy is. I think that there's potential that Akainu's comes from a more... No, Akainu's probably worse, right? He killed all the civilians. I think I can maybe understand where Akainu's coming from a little bit more than Green Bull. Not in a good way, like not justifying his actions or anything like that, but I can understand potentially why he has the mentality he has. But in terms of actions, Akainu's done objectively some of the worst shit in the entire story. Narrator says, guess what? Natter says, also Kobe kills Luffy is real. What? Okay, it's fake. It's fake. Been debunked. Alright, I'll just trust you guys. If you say it's been debunked, it's been debunked. I just look up Marines. It's gotta be Marines One Piece. Here's the thing. I don't think Kobe's that strong right now. I would be happy to be wrong, but at the same time, it's just, I do think that when Garp's saying Kobe's the future of the Marines, I believe that, but I take that as the future of the Marines, not the Marines, like, today, right now, in the final saga. We've probably got, like, I don't know, like, maybe less than 200 chapters left of the story to go. If Kobe's ranked as a rear admiral, I take it that he's a rear admiral. I'm not reading too much more into it than that. Because that's already a huge jump in strength. I take it as maybe, like, down the line or something like that, Kobe will be a lot stronger and will be admiral level. But I don't see Kobe becoming admiral level right now. That's kind of absurd. Because think about this. You could argue that Luffy should be, right now, stronger than admirals, in my opinion. Right now, Luffy should be. But I need to see him take care of these Seraphim first. Because because we did a top 5 stream, like a little bit, maybe a few months back or something like that. We did a top 5 stream, I don't know if you guys remember, trying to figure out who we think the top 5 strongest One Piece characters are. We did what chat thinks and what I think. I had Luffy at that point in time. Keep in mind, we're coming hot off of Wano, right? So we haven't seen really anything. Like, we haven't seen Garp do anything. We have no reason to be hyped for Dragon, because at that point, Dragon's looking like a total incompetent idiot and stuff like that. So I think I had Luffy, like, top 5 or 6, basically. I think I said Im is probably number 1, and then some combination of, probably, I forget. I definitely had Shanks, Mihawk, Akainu. Yeah, it's some combination of Shanks, Mihawk, Akainu, Dragon, Luffy, basically, and Blackbeard, following up Im. That's what I think, right? I find it hard to put Luffy in that territory at this moment in time with him acting the way he is with the Seraphim, right? Basically, I'm like, Luffy could be top 6, for all we know right now. I'm removing him from that discussion till he reaffirms what we already believed he was, you know? It's weird. Luffy he's like this sometimes, right? You see him beating the shit out of Crocodile, and then 2 arcs later, he's going high diff. Literally, high diff with Foxy. People don't talk about it. Go read that fight again. It's actually one of Luffy's more painful fights in the story. It actually pushes him much further than any East Blue fight, for example. Justin Holland, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 6 months. Maybe Big Mom can make a surprise return for that Luffy versus Big Mom match. Please no. Maybe that's possible, but please no. Let her die. Maybe Law gets away somehow. 3. Chopper's Awakening Thoughts. Okay. For Akainu Free Reign. Akainu Free Reign. What does that mean? What does Akainu Free Reign mean? What does Akainu Free Reign mean? I don't get that part of the question. Chopper's Awakening Thoughts. I'll be honest. I always thought that Chopper's Awakening was Monster Point, just because if you look at the similarities between how the Impel Down guards act, right? Impel Down guards, it seems very visually similar, both design-wise, the white-eyed out eyes and everything like that, and behavior-wise. It seems very similar to Monster Point Chopper as we were seeing him behave pre-time skip, so at Enies Lobby and Sabaody. Post-time skip, I was just like, okay, he's got it under control, so he no longer acts the way the Impel Down guards do, but it seems as though it's a very similar sort of power-up. And honestly, it seemed like in terms of the strength boost it gave him, if you go back and look at how strong the Impel Down guards are, it seemed comparable at the time. But now that we've seen more awakenings, and Oda's going with this sort of cloud aesthetic around them, maybe Chopper's not quite awakened just yet, which would be good. He's still got more room. Maybe we learn more about Zone Awakenings. Maybe there's levels to it, so maybe there's Awakening Level 1, so semi-awakened or something, and that's what the Impel Down guards were. And then a fully mastered Zone Awakening will have these sort of wreath of clouds around you, a la Luffy, Lucci, Kaku. Akainu Free Reign, I don't know what that means. Uchek says, do you think Kobe will eat a Devil Fruit? I would love for Kobe to just be strong, similar to Garp. No Devil Fruit needed. So do I think he'll eat a Devil Fruit? I'm gonna say no. And you know what? One of my favorite little Kobe scenes was, I mean, it's not like he has a ton of scenes throughout the story, but a really cool scene to reintroduce him and his strength into the story was, if you guys remember, I think it was chapter 903. It was Kobe doing what was it, like an underwater rescue, something like that. He basically was like a high flying jet, just speeding around, zipping around underwater, and I thought that was really cool. It felt like something that Sanji would do. So, considering that's the first we see of Kobe post time skip, I would love if we just kind of get to keep that idea that Kobe's basically sort of a Superman figure at this point. Cigar Verk, thanks for being a Yonko team member for 7 months. We all know Pinzoro is the best Marine. He was Garp's trainer and he taught hockey to all Marines, and he was the only one who could train King's hockey to anyone. Pinzoro. You know what? Have you guys seen that poll of it was a worldwide popularity poll for Naruto characters for one of them to win a spin-off, like a one-shot spin-off. Minato won, which I'm very happy about because Minato was my favorite character from Naruto. I know, really unique. It's just a lot of people love Minato. Partly because I didn't really care for too many Naruto characters. Minato just came across as a really cool character. Really liked his ability. It's just, I don't think I need to explain that much. I like Minato a lot. So I'm definitely going to actually read that one shot whenever it comes out. Even if you think Naruto's mid, I don't think Minato's mid. So that's that. That being said, I think it'd be really funny if Oda did a poll like that and everybody just meme picked Pinzoro, and then we see where that led us. Narrator, thanks for the 10. I'm not sure what Luffy's Gear 5th endurance is, but in Gear 5th he should be able to hurt Seraphim even in flame mode. That endurance is the real question of his strength. The one argument, so I'm not going to touch on Gear 5th here. The one argument I've seen people say is that Luffy's not using Advanced Conqueror's Haki because it would be tiring, right? It would tire him out or something like that. In theory, you should just need one, right? One good hit, maybe a couple good hits. Is that really more tiring than doing everything he's doing right now, which is cycling through Gear 4th and Gear 2nd? And yeah, maybe like you say, maybe he'll go to try Gear 5th again. Like he's working quite a bit already. Is Advanced Conqueror's Haki that draining? If so, I feel like that hasn't really been... Maybe this will be the point where Oda establishes it or something like that. Diaklia, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 4 months. Have you seen the Pain and Naruto arguing about Mihawk versus Shanks parody? I watched a bit of it and I got the idea. I got the gist of it, so I didn't watch the whole thing. Because it's just... I'm so sick of hearing it's funny. I get it, it's funny. The hockeyman arguments and everything like that. But I'm just so done with the whole Mihawk Shanks thing because it's just... It's one of the... You can barely talk about those two characters without just... Oh, do you not understand what a swordsman is? By definition, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's so obvious. Oda's made it very clear. Mihawk's number 2 in the verse behind him, obviously, at this point. Shit, like, I'm just so done with it. I'm like, okay, maybe. I don't know. I'm done. I don't care. Let's wait till Elbaf. I don't care. I don't care anymore. So, even if it's funny, I've seen it basically on. So, there's nothing for me to react to. I haven't watched the full video, but it's only like a minute-long video. I got the idea of it. It is peak One Piece meme material. I agree, it's one of the better ones. Nerve MV Maker, thanks. Could you imagine what would happen if Kaido was struggling against S-Bear? The thing is, Kaido would just bust out the Thunder Bagua like he did against Luffy in Act 1, and that's how I expect Kaido versus a Seraphim to go. The same way Shanks just busted out Divine Departure against Kid. Forgot his name, he's so irrelevant. It's just, I expect the Yonko level characters to just take care of this shit quicker, right? So it just would never happen because we've already seen this sort of scenario play out. An annoying high-level character like Luffy bothering Kaido early on in Act 1. But at the end of the day, Kaido's Yonko level. He busts out some Advanced Conqueror's Haki, hits Luffy, it's done. Right? Should be the same thing here. It should be Luffy doing that in that position now. Maybe we're just being impatient. Well, I'm being impatient, but I think that's fair because this is a very contrived problem. If Advanced Conqueror's Haki can solve it, it's a very contrived problem. Oda making Luffy and Zoro look like total incompetence is annoying. Yeah, we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. Like so many things, we'll have to wait and see. Alright, guys, let's get the stream likes to 200. I did actually... Oh my god, there's so many Marines. This is crazy. Okay, and before we get into this, let me pull up some... what do you call? Some of these emotes real quick. Let's see what we got. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Wait a second. Do we have him ready? Do we have him ready? I just want you guys to be like, hey, give us this, this, and then we can move on to the list. So just give me 1 second. How do I do this? Fuck, did I forget how to... Okay. Okay. Hello? I think I forgot how to do these things. What? 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 Okay, hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Okay, yeah, we can do some more. We can do some more. I just had to check. All right. Copium emote should have kid hair. Can we get Morj's late emote? I just don't know how many emotes we can get. That's the thing. Mr. Crescent's asking, you need help, Grandpa? Maybe. Let me Slack somebody real quick, just to confirm some things. Let me Slack somebody real quick. Let me not let me not speak on things that I don't have full knowledge on. Oh, God, the second monitor is going slow. The Galaxy Impact emote. I should watch the AMV. It's this thing you send to your friends to get it into One Piece. If it's got a bunch of spoilers, I'm not gonna send it to anybody. Bogard's hypeness to screen time ratio is insane. Is this a joke? Are people actually really hyped for Bogard? Because I'm very much not at all. Is this a real thing? Is this a meme? Is this a meme or not? Okay, YouTube heavily limits how many more emotes you can add at a time because it wants to make it more rewarding or some shit. And I don't know the exact number, so let's just say 2. Let's just say 2. We're gonna pick 2 real quick. Wait, this isn't helpful. Oh my god. Alright, I'll show you guys in 1 second. Wait, this is so... Why is this organized so weird? I don't even know what emotes are the current emotes that we have. I'm confused. I'm just very confused. Alright. So I can't actually fully understand what this is. So maybe you guys can help me out. We've got 2 things. Stream submissions. So these seem like emojis you guys sent earlier at some point. Hold on, let me share screen. So we got some stream submissions. I think this is from last time. And then we've got some emojis pulled from the Morj Discord. I don't even know what emotes we have right now. So how am I supposed to know what we're trying to add? I guess I should know. Okay. Bogard first commander level. Low admiral level. Okay. What do we want? Is this an emote already? Is Big News already an emote? Is Bon Clay already an emote? I forget. I legitimately don't know. Wait, I can pull it up. Alright, we got... Okay, I see the ones we got. Okay, so we don't have Big News. We don't have Bon Clay. I don't think we have any of these. These are pulled from the Morj Discord. These are ones that were submitted on stream in the past. Yeah, what are you guys feeling? Anything pop out to you? Anything catching your eye? Your guys' eyes? Spade, thank you for spamming all the emotes. Branks Drums of Liberation, thanks for spamming all the emotes. Do you guys want Goda? Isaiah JD says he wants Goda. Let's get the stream likes to 200. The Moria one? The Moria one's funny, but does it communicate anything? Oh, this is the Morgius one. You guys remember when Morgius was a thing? It's Morgin time. Good times. Morj shoulder? Oh, man. Yeah. My shoulder's pretty good now. You guys know the true reason? Here's the true reason. The true reason I realized after much trial and error, the true reason why my shoulder used to hurt and still kind of hurts is because I would take out my... It's holding up... It's looking at my phone a lot. It's the stupidest reason in the world. But honestly, I look at my phone a lot. And if I'm like lying down or something like that, and then I'm feeling lazy, then I'll reach over, pull out my phone. So I'm like leaning on my shoulder, looking at my phone, scrolling. That's bad for your shoulder over time. I learned to not do that. You know how sad that is? That's such a millennial problem. Or Gen Z problem, whatever it is. Okay, wait, what do you guys want? See Moria. See Caesar. Morgin time? But Morgin time... I just don't know if this looks good as a... No, maybe Morgin time is good. Yeah, maybe Morgin time is good. Caesar. You guys want Caesar? Where even is Caesar? You want this? This one's black and white. I don't know about this. A river to everyone says, Morj, I dislocated my shoulder 3 weeks ago, probably because I watched too many of your streams. That's true, I'm a bad influence. Robin emote, please. Yeah, I should probably listen to members more, right? Because you guys are the ones who are actually getting the emotes. Okay. Robin. Okay, people are saying... I'm seeing two things for Robin. So we're going to say Robin for the moment. We're going to say Robin for the moment. Morj really named himself after Moria and does not have a Moria emote. I didn't name myself after Moria. Okay, Robin's a guaranteed. Let's do. Oh, you want the Robin disgusted face? Okay. Don't we already have something like that? I swear we've got something like that. See, the thing is, we've got an Odin yikes. Someone spam Odin yikes so you guys can see it. Because you guys might have forgotten. Because we've got Odin yikes, I feel like Robin this would be redundant. But if you guys want it, we can have it. Alright, we'll do one Robin. Robin is fine. Give me one more. What else do you guys want? Mr. Chad Rodriguez says, damn, my voice don't count. It counts significantly less because you won't be using the emote, so it's just not as fair. You know what I'm saying? Tommy says Curry versus Ja. Curry's obviously better. We need another Morj emote like these. I mean, we could do Morgius as a way to signify Morgin time. We could do Morgius as a way to signify Morgin time. Ender Ayanami, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Monthly reminder to read Fire Punch. We need Bald Morj emote, Alice in Wonderland, Rabbit being late but with Morj's head emote, Lorge emote, and Anti-Law emote. Okay, these are all very specific requests. I do want to read Fire Punch. That's the only one I'll listen to. You will never get a Lord emote. And Anti-Law emote. Anti-Law emote. I don't even know how I would do that. Member Supremacy BS. These emotes are for the members. They're for the members. It's for... It belongs to the members. You literally won't be able to use whatever emotes you vote for. Okay. I'm gonna go with Robin. So we're keeping Robin. And we need one more. NBA emote, anti-law emote is a must. You guys gotta pick from this one. I'll consider custom emotes for the next one. But at the moment, we just gotta pick from what we got. I can look at these real quick again. In case anything stands out. Again, this is from the Discord. I don't take any responsibility for what emotes are here. This is from the Discord. Oh, this could be good. Feels Kaido, man. I don't know if people care enough about Kaido at this point. All right. I'm going to roll with Morjius. Morjius. Eh. Hurrying Lyrics 44 says this is what being middle class feels like. Yeah, I guess. I guess. Morjius is going to win. The one next to Morj in time? That's just Morj's shoulder. Unless you want Moria Pepega. Kaido, yes. You guys want the Kaido one? You want the teapot? Here, I'll show you guys these again. He laughed. Alright, the only one we've got basically for sure is the Robin one. Crocodile. Okay. I don't know what the other pick is. Okay, how about a poll? But I don't even know what the options are. Fine. I'll throw out the options. You guys vote. We'll just do it this way. You know what? Even non-members can vote. Everyone can vote. The options I'll throw out are... See, yeah, Morj time. So I'll keep Morjius as an option. Robin stays. I don't think I saw anybody asking for any of these. I think I saw people asking for Caesar a little bit. I think I saw people asking for He Laughed. And one more. What was the other one? Kizaru? Teapot, I just don't know how often it would, like, come up. Because you want the emotes to be reactions to certain things, right? What does teapot really mean, other than being a joke? An inside joke. Okay. I'll throw in Kaido. Okay, I'll throw in Kaido one. Which emoji? Morjius, Kaido... What are the other two options? It's like... Oh yeah, people said Caesar. Fuck. Oh, and He Laughed. I don't even see He Laughed on here. We'll put it there. Chinho Wong, welcome to the Supernova. Feel free to vote. Caesar. He Laughed. Alright. This is what we got. All right. Looks like Morjius is going to take it. All right, we're going to roll with Morjius. I'll give it 10 more seconds, but besides that, we're going to roll with Morjius. Ready? All right. Morjius it is. I think that's good, because Morj time is, it's a classic, I suppose, as far as regular things that that repeatedly seem to come up on the stream that never seem to really go away. So, we got that. Now let me introduce you to something that is far more important, and what was the actual point of this stream. The Marines tier list. I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize that we had this many named Marines. We're probably not going to... Look, when we're getting down to these guys, when they've got fucking question marks on their names and such, we're just not going to be ranking them. I don't know these guys in the bottom tier. I know these two, obviously, but I assume we've got other pictures of them. Do we not have other pictures of Garp and Sengoku? Okay. That's weird. Yeah, we're gonna do the main ones. And let me just clarify this. For those of you who are just showing up to this stream, we are ranking the Marines based on how good they are as characters. So the best characters in the Marines. One Piece is a show about pirates. We primarily follow pirates, but there are a lot of interesting Marines in the story. even some Marines that don't get a lot of lines or action, I always find them interesting when they show up. I think Momonga is a great example of this. I don't think Momonga is a great character, but you know what it is? There's just something there's just something very comfortable. What's the right word? Just something very familiar, I suppose, about seeing Momonga just show up in some chapter or some scene. You know, it's just because he's just been around for so long. And sure, he's not the strongest Marine in the world or anything like that. He's not even the strongest Vice Admiral probably, but you know, it's just Momonga. He's a guy that he just feels like an old reliable Marine. Just shows up and you're like, yeah, this is what a Marine fucking looks like. I know this guy. Justin Holland says, did you answer my chat and law? My chat and law? I think I covered everything you said. Let's take a look at what you said again. Oh, you asked, do you think law got away? Fuck, did I not answer that part? I didn't. Do I think law got away? No. Partly because I think... Wait. Yeah, partly because I think that Law meeting Kobe would be important. And they're both captives. Like him putting Kobe and Garp all being captives would be really interesting because it'd be interesting because we could get so much dialogue out of it, because with the Kobe and Law part, we could find out about the Rocky Port incident, and then with Garp, we could find out about the Rocks incident, which is just, I don't know, puts everything together pretty neatly in terms of some of the big mysteries, you know, that have been the big incidents that Oda's been teasing that he won't elaborate on. Hey, Parvision, what's up? You don't see Magellan, he's a Marine. Magellan's not a Marine. Magellan's he's not a Marine. Rainman says Momonga solos the Yonko commanders. No, he doesn't. We literally saw the Marineford War. We know that that's not true. Jay says, I think they'd have to kill Garp. He'd never get taken alive. I mean, Luffy gets taken alive all the time. Luffy spends lots of time in jail. He spends a lot of time in jail. And, like, that's not even a recent development. That's, like, you can go back to, what, like, chapter... I feel like chapter 10 or something like that. Yeah, look at this. Like, first arc of the story, pretty much, you find Luffy in jail. So, I don't know. It's not a bad thing to get taken alive. Characters get taken alive in One Piece all the time. Yeah, Magellan's a warden. Impel down staff don't count. Okay, so this is best characters. Best characters. Best character. Should we? Okay, is that? Would it communicate the concept better? Because I don't want people coming in and being like, "Hey, this power scaling is all off" and stuff like that. Would it communicate the concept better if I titled this Best Marine Characters in One Piece tier list? How about that? Let me do that. Best Marine Characters in One Piece. Let me do that. I don't know why I asked you guys that rhetorical question. Who's the streamer here? Huh? Although if you guys tell me I'm wrong, I'll change it back. But I feel like gut instinct, this makes more sense. Best Marine Characters in One Piece. That way people will be able to more easily understand what they're coming in for. Goomba Boomba says, use the useless ones to represent the new sword people at Mr. Morj. Let's just not count the new sword people. Here's my question real quick. When it comes to the new sword people, right? I think we're all excited that, you know, we get, like, Garp's got a squad and everything like that. But let's be honest here. Do you think that... Here's my question about Kobe real quick before I get to that. I'll circle back to Kobe. Let me finish this thought. Do you think that these guys that are showing up with Garp right now, right? They've got cool abilities and stuff. I like the Golem. I think I've liked all of their abilities. This whip ability seems honestly pretty crazy good. Do you think that these characters are important? When I say important, I don't mean, oh, they got to be like Scabbard level important. What I'm saying is, do you think that they're about as important as, like, who were they? I think... This is about it. Where there's a chapter for this. What's the chapter? Yeah, these guys. Do you think that they're going to be about these guys' level of importance? Like, what are we thinking here? You know, like, are these just some fun characters? This is who the fuck? What changes in the story if we never get these panels introducing these characters? What changes in the story? They're getting actually a weird amount of characterization here. Why did they get two full... What is this? Why? Alright. Anyway. You guys are saying yes. What are you saying yes to? Like, how important do we think they are? Like, are we talking like, are we gonna have to care about these characters? Like, is it worth it for me to remember their names? That's basically where I'm at. Because as I was skimming this chapter, and, I went on Twitter afterwards and saw people were excited about, the new characters and their abilities. In my mind, I just erased their names from my memory. I mean, I remember the name Prince Groose because it's kind of a memorable name. But I just kind of erased my names from their memory because I'm just like, I need to see first that they're here to stay and play a role in the story and not just be random fun character designs and fun little character ability concepts that Oda's playing around with just because he's having fun, Not that there's anything, I think it's cool. For the record, I think that there's a difference between, I think that this scene is, I'm not trying to compare these guys to these guys just yet, because these guys are literally, they add nothing to anything in Wano. Not even in terms of, plot significance or anything, but I'm saying, in terms of just, they don't enhance the story in any way. They just take up space. Whereas with this, I think it's really, really cool to get the sense that Garp has a squad and he's rolling in with a squad. And it gives it more of a sense of an actual Marine raid with a sense of build-up, Sense of build-up, sense of hype to see, some strong-ass sword member Marines showing up, putting in work against a Yonko Empire right off the bat, all leading up to the entrance of the big man himself. I think that makes this whole scene more epic. So even if these characters don't play a role going further in the story, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, right? I think they've already done more to enhance the quality of the Egghead Island arc than these guys, who more so detracted from it by just being unnecessary wastes of space, right? In the Wano arc. But that doesn't mean I'm going to learn these guys' names just yet. I'm just going to, let's wait and see if they play any sort of character role, Let's see. Anthony's crew says, do you think Kazara's fruit can buff and strengthen Green Bull's fruit since it will feed off his light? Yo, that's actually a really interesting idea. That's a really interesting idea. Okay, I'm about to ask a question. And this might be a really, really... You guys can tell me if this is the stupidest... Wait, this is actually a huge question. I can't believe I've never thought about... You guys might roast me for being really, really... uneducated, I suppose, in terms of physics. But I just forgot shit. Okay, I don't remember high school science stuff, okay? Can you guys explain one thing to me real quick? Okay, how do I phrase this to not sound stupid? I feel like it's an ununderstandable question. Is sunlight basically the same thing as, is all light sunlight? Does that make any sense? Is all the light that we see basically, is it all... Never mind, I don't want to, forget the question. But you guys get, everything, my understanding is everything that we see, it's refractions or whatever, reflections of the sun's rays, right? Is that right? No, this is a stupid question, right? Someone explain to me if this is a stupid question, right? Is light... Alright, so someone explain to me. Someone explain to me how light works. No. Alright, the answer is resounding no. How does that make sense to you? I mean, I'm looking around my room and I understand that there's other sources of light here. But I guess my question. Forget the question. Forget the question. Forget the question. What I suppose what I mean is more so, the spectrum of light, right? That the different types of rays that exist, right? Ultraviolet through the rainbow waves, through all of that stuff, right? The spectrum of rays that exist. Is all of that light contained in sunlight? I guess that's the more appropriate question that I'm trying to get at. Or are there different type? You guys get what I'm saying? Like the full spectrum of light that can possibly exist, is all of that contained in sunlight? That's a better way to phrase it, I suppose. If that makes sense, someone explain to me. Stas Silantov says, will Zoro get a character arc like Sanji in Whole Cake Island Plus? In Whole Cake Island Plus. Yeah, they'll just go back to Whole Cake Island, repeat the whole arc. This time Zoro will defeat Big Mom. But people will still be upset because it's not as cool as Zoro beating Kaido. Narrator says, best marine characters. This tier list is a joke if you don't include Jinbei, Fisher Tiger, Madame Charlie, and the goat OG Papag. There's... Oh, I get what you're saying. Best marine... Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. Okay. Okay, let me read what you guys are saying now. Okay, Oswald Climmy says the sun has all light, but more of sun than others. That's more so what I meant. Yes, all the spectrum is in sunlight, but we see only visible one. Okay, so with that in mind, Kizaru's ability, it's light, right? So we can assume that that covers basically... That was basically what my question was, which is like when we're saying Kizaru's light is... Kizaru's light is light that he's... we just view it as lasers and everything like that. But plants, as we know, obviously they need sunlight and shit. I don't know exactly what parts or what aspects of sunlight are super useful for plants. But if we assume that Kizaru, his ability includes all matter of light, right? Then wouldn't he basically be able to reproduce sunlight, which is basically the full spectrum of light? Doesn't that make sense? Light lore. Yeah, we're learning some lore about light here. Unrivaled says Garp literally pulled up like a Yonko with his crew. Yeah, and I think that made for a very effective scene. So I'm happy that these guys exist, these random people exist, but I'm not going to learn more about them until we get a reason to, is what I'm saying. Rodolfo says light is electromagnetic waves, and all light is the same. They just have different frequency and wavelength, but it's all the same. But then you can't, like with a plant, you can't just shine. They need sunlight, right? They can't just shine. I can't just shine these lights or whatever on a plant. So how does that make any sense? They just have different frequency and wavelength, but it's all the same. So I guess you're saying that the sun's specific frequency and wavelength is what's good for plants. All right, that makes sense. Jason Josar, people are still... I'm not watching this One Piece AMV. Leave me alone. Cringe Guy 11 says, theoretically, can't Kizaru beat everyone? I mean, it depends on how he's written in the story. Obviously, there's things like very advanced observation hockey and such at this point, which makes us understand why Kizaru can't just speed blitz everyone. So at least that's crossed off the window. Crossed off the board, right? Let's say. At the same time, as I understand it, if Kizaru could actually, if he's actually kicking at the speed of light or something like that, his attack should basically be the most powerful attacks in One Piece. But obviously, the way Oda's writing the physics in One Piece is such that it's not literally the same effect as getting hit by the speed of light, at least in the One Piece world. So, it's all dependent on how Oda wants to write the actual limits of the ability in canon. Kali D. Soliman says, light bulbs are actually dials that capture sunlight and emit them in your room. It's cutting-edge Sky Island technology. All right, good to know. Learn something new every day. All right. Okay. Kizaru's gonna sunburn everyone. All right, we learned something. I think a lot of other people learned something about light today and how sunlight works. All right? This is what I get for killing Solaire in Dark Souls. I lacked a lot of useful information about the mechanics of sunlight. Okay, moving on. Parvision I don't trust a word Powervision says. This guy, he's just a One Piece YouTuber. He doesn't know anything about science. Let's see what Powervision's got to say. Maybe I'm just projecting myself here. The lights that you need to grow plants contain IR/UV lights. IR means infrared, for those of you who are less educated. UV, ultraviolet, of course. See, I know things. They are special light bulbs, not the regular ones. Okay. All right. Didn't know Powervision's a botanist. But apparently you don't need the sunlight anymore. We've got all of that. We've got IR lights. We've got UV lights. We've got it all bottled up. We can use whatever types of lights that we so please on a whim. Okay. I saw a comment that's... I don't know why this comment makes me laugh so much. Pierce Sullivan said... It's so dumb. I don't know if I can read this out loud. I find it too funny. Guys, read Pierce Sullivan's comment. He says, Garp, more like Flarp. I don't know. I find that just reading that out is really funny. Maybe because everybody else's comments right now are basically explaining detailed things. I think it's the context, because I'm looking at the flow of chat, and everybody's explaining things about infrared, UV, chlorophyll, stuff like that, and then I just see one random comment being like, Garp, more like Flarp. Thanks for contributing to the conversation, man. Okay. Enough of this. Who cares about plants and who cares about sunlight and all that stuff? As for the original question regarding Kizaru and Green Bull, it would be a cool combo. I think that would be a really, really cool combo. Maybe it makes Green Bull an actual threat, especially considering it doesn't really work the other way, does it? Green Bull can't really do anything to boost Kizaru's abilities as far as I can think of off the top of my head. So real quick, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move in all of the One Piece Marines that we're actually gonna rank. The ones we're using, all right? Because that way we just cut out all the BS. Wait, see, like I'm not doing Mozambia, I'm not doing Cancer, I'm not doing Komil. We're doing Momonga, Onigumo. We can throw. This is the fine line. Do we do Strawberry? Strawberry played a role in racism, so we could put him straight up in the bottom tier if we wanted to. It's just like, if we're doing Strawberry, then why don't we just do Yamakiji or Yamakaji? Let's leave Okay, where's the line? I feel like Strawberry is basically where the line is at. So anybody with less of a role than Strawberry... No, Strawberry, he's not a character. He's just not a character. I feel like she had more dialogue over the course of the entire story than Strawberry, and she's shown up in one scene as far as I can remember. Whitebeard is Marine? Yeah. Guys, let's get the stream likes up to 300. Yeah, she would be... See, I don't even know what... No. We're gonna try and do actual character discussion here, right? Who the fuck is this? When did he show up? See, Doll doesn't make the cut. Cicely doesn't... Okay, Hina makes it, obviously. T-Bone, what a character. What a character. I should have used T-Bone as another example in my video talking about Garp and why there are a lot of good characters in the Marines, because if you're somebody like T-Bone who's just a good person who wants to help people, you're going to join the Marines. Like, there are a lot of good, like, genuinely good people that join the Marines. I could have used him. I could have used Bellamere. Like, there's many examples of actually well-meaning characters. We can use Saul, right? There's characters like Saul who are especially admirable because once they realize the problems with the Marines, they take action. Which you could say. You could make the argument that Garp should have done that. But at the end of the day, it's more complicated. It's like, where do you think you can do more good? And with Saul, he was faced with a very tough choice where he knew about the O'Hara incident, right? He knew what was about to happen to O'Hara. If Garp had heard what was about to happen to O'Hara, maybe Garp would have done something. What if Garp was the Vice Admiral who was being sent to Buster Call O'Hara? I doubt Garp would have participated in that, and maybe we got a breakaway from Garp earlier on. Who knows what information he was or wasn't privy to. I will pitch my podcast again, in that in the podcast, the most recent one, I actually gave a lot of takes counter to my takes in the Garp video, because I think it is a much more complicated situation than it is a more complicated situation than just, yeah, Garp's still a good guy because you can excuse all of his actions because X, Y, and Z. I just wanted to give a very comprehensive take in the video as to why a lot of people are unfair or put the Marineford conflict in a certain context, which is it's reductionist when you consider what was actually at stake and what Garp was actually fighting for. But at the same time, I do think that a lot of criticisms for Garp are still valid. It's just that wasn't the purpose of the video. The purpose of the video is to provide some counter arguments to those criticisms. But I still have a lot of thoughts on, I suppose, what I guess a lot of it is me projecting my own moral values, I suppose, which for me, I'll just say this: if I was in Garp's shoes, I would have saved Ace first and foremost. Basically, I think I would have done that. But that doesn't mean that just because that's how I think I would have acted and what I would have prioritized, I can still understand why Garp did what he did, and what he did was still technically, objectively, probably more correct if you're weighing things in terms of, well, what's for the greater good of the world, etc. But I would have cared about my grandson first and foremost. Fuck those people on the other islands. They can live in a world without Marines for all I care. All right. Let's move it along. Right. Let's move it along. We need to get to some ranking here. See, Prince Groose doesn't make the cut. These guys don't make the cut. Yarasugi. Komil could, because technically he was the star of a cover story, the Ace cover story. Great piece. Thanks for the donation, but you can definitely ask a question next time. I appreciate it. Yarasugi. I need a refresher. I need a refresher on Yarasugi. What does he do? Oh, this is a bad dude. Right? This is a bad dude. Doesn't he work for Virgo in some sense or something like that? Yarasugi. Brand new's funny. Yeah, we can rank brand new. Yeah, if I need a refresher, then no. That's a good point. Kachi Rapalini says Morj is a Slytherin. Morj is a Slytherin. Morj is a Slytherin. I don't know. I think Harry Potter would have saved Ace. I'll say that. I think someone like, what's his name? What's the Cornelius Fudge would have been something like, we have to execute this guy because otherwise Voldemort will do lots. I don't know. Cornelius Fudge would have said some shit, and then Harry would have been like, I don't care. I'm not letting my grandson. I'm not letting Hagrid die. That's what Harry would say, right? Let's just pretend it's Hagrid instead of Ace. Harry would be like, I don't care what you guys say. I'm not letting Hagrid die. And he would have saved Hagrid. That's what I think Harry would have done. All right. Brand new obviously goes in there. Pudding goes in there. Well, pudding, because, he's not pudding. The other one we know. Peter Falk. Thanks for being a Yonko tier member for a month. Do you think the dramatic tension missing in Wano comes into play with the Strahds taking an L in Egghead? I don't think the Strahds take an L in Egghead. I think if there's a big L for them to take in the final saga, it would be against something like the Blackbeard Pirates or something like that first. I think that we're at a point where it would feel really good for the Strahds to kick things off in a really dramatic fashion, and we go back like a fashion that makes us feel as though, yeah, this is a Yonko crew that's about to shake up the order of the world. At whatever point it's time for them to really start to feel the pressure or tension of the situation, I think it'll come finally being in the final saga, the final war, etc. I think that would come a little bit later, especially considering Elbaf is most likely next. If Elbaf is next, I just don't think that them losing at Egghead makes a lot of sense because, again, I would just assume that when/if they have a major setback over the course of this final saga, it would be once the story moves along a little bit. Part of the reason I also say that is because it's just generally better for. I mean, it's not even just generally better. It's just how narrative structure works. You want the midpoint of the story to have the greatest degree of tension, setback, characters having to pick themselves back up. So that wouldn't be the case in Egghead, which is the very beginning of the arc. If anything, that's kind of like the warm-up. A cool, flashy warm-up, most likely. Then you want some heavy stuff in the middle, resurgent victories and comebacks towards the end. That's just the way that pretty much every story goes, including pretty much every One Piece arc, except for Wano. Pretty much any anime manga arc, pretty much any movie. It's hilarious. I watched the Mario movie. I watched the Mario movie. Who watched the Mario movie? The Mario movie factually has more tension than Wano. And I'm not going to drop this subject because it just blows my mind every time I think about it. The Mario movie, which is literally made for children, it's like you can see a clear midpoint where everything goes wrong. I don't care about spoiling the Mario movie because it's a fucking Mario movie. There's a clear midpoint. Fun fact, there's actually a raid that they do in the Mario movie. It's a raid. They go on Rainbow Road and everything like that. Their little raid fails. That everybody's sad and shit for a bit. And then Mario and DK and Peach, etc., they have to pick themselves back up and then win the final fight. That's just how fucking... Like, even the most ABC children's movie will follow that structure because that's just how a fucking story works. All right. Moving back on. All right. Mario movie was good. You know what's funny? So, like, I like the Mario movie. I liked it a lot because I like Mario. This is one of those things where a lot of people are like, the critics were wrong because the Mario movie was good and we like the Mario movie. No, the critics were right because the Mario movie is not a good movie. It's a good Mario movie, but critics aren't going to grade it based on it being a Mario movie. They're grading it based on if it's a movie. So what I mean by that is so many people really enjoyed the Mario movie, myself included, because we're not really watching it for, like, we just want to be satisfied as Mario fans first, right? We see so many references and cool, like, little... like all the stuff from the games brought to life, right? You get Rainbow Road, you get all these power-ups, you get Mario platforming across all of these things, you get Koopas, you get Goombas, you get DK, you get all of these characters, right? You get the power-up stars, you get all that stuff, right? That's all we're really asking for. But that's because we all know the Mario stuff. We all know the Mario shit, right? Everyone's very familiar with the Mario shit. Critics aren't supposed to grade it based on how fan servicey it is. It would be like, if you're grading how good an adaptation is, right, of a video game or of a book or whatever, right, you're supposed to review it not based on how fan servicey it is to the original stuff. You're supposed to review it based on if somebody if somebody had no context of what the original source material is, how well does this translate to a movie, right? Because, like, when I watch something like... If you watch them, what I'm basically trying to get at is if you watch the Mario movie with no context of Mario, then it's just a big jumbled up mess of just random shit. It's like, okay, so he's in this random world, and then there's like so much unexplained like weirdness to it, and there's like you can get random power-ups and stuff from stuff like that. The scenes fly by at like 10 seconds a scene or whatever. Now they're talking to these monkeys. Now this monkey's here, and now the monkey. Okay, you know what? They're friends. It doesn't really matter. There's like a rivalry that lasts like 5 seconds or whatever, and now they're on this magical road and they're flying around on carts, and then they're done with that, and then now they're using these other fire and ice power-ups and stuff to fight, and then they get a star, and then they power up, and like it's just a huge jumbled up bunch of shit. Again, we love it because we have the context. We know why it's like it's just living up to our enjoyment of seeing Mario shit brought to life on a big screen, right? But that's not how you review a movie. That's just not how you review a movie because like the simple comparison is, what if I watched, I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, right? Most people have no idea. Most people didn't fucking read the Guardians of the Galaxy comics, right? If it's a good movie, you should be able to come into it with zero context of anything Guardians of the Galaxy related, like I did, and be able to follow and understand a story and feel something for the characters, etc., from start to finish, and have that all organically, all organically introduce you and make you invested in it just through the movie alone, right? Because imagine if you're watching imagine any adaptation if you're watching it, Guardians of the Galaxy, Lord of the Rings, whatever. Imagine if they just don't do any sort of like actual, explanatory stuff, or don't actually try and take time or pacing or anything like that to really build the world or the story for the reader, and they're just like, here's a bunch of crazy Easter eggs and references and stuff like that, and don't you love all this obscure Guardians of the Galaxy shit? It's like, that's not how that works. So the Mario movie, here's the reason that so many fans love it. Because normally, right? Normally this would just be bad movie making, but Mario has such a huge cultural knowledge base, right? Everybody fucking knows Mario. Everybody knows Mario, right? At least most people from younger generations, right? So millennials, etc., right? Maybe not movie critics, or they're not taking that into account, but everybody knows Mario. So it's able to do a movie where it does very little actual, movie work in terms of how it develops the movie. But at the same time, it doesn't matter because everybody who's coming in already gets it. We already know the character Mario. We already know the character Peach. We're not being introduced to them as though they are completely new characters to us or anything like that we kind of need to learn about. It's just we already have an image of what Mario is. We already have an image of what Peach is. We already have an image of Bowser is. It's like, okay, let's just see them thrown into a box and like have them do random shit for us, right, for our entertainment. That's the way it is. So that's why Mario kind of it's being so loved by so many audiences, even though as a movie it's not good, but it's a good Mario movie. You think that makes sense? Whereas the critics are just going to grade it based on if it's a movie. And like that's what they're supposed to do. That's just what they're supposed to do. Natter says Luffy died. He lost multiple times before the raid. There was plenty of tension in the entirety of the arc. I think fans just got fatigued. That's the problem. That's one of the biggest things that's going to be addressed in the video. So that's not what tension is. That's not what tension is. Tension is how the characters are affected. It's not objectively ticking off what happened. So the key difference, I can go through this, right? Beat by beat, which is like if we look at the Mario movie versus Luffy and the Straw Hats, etc. In the Mario movie, there's a clear point in the movie where after being defeated, right, and after failing, they are fucking down on themselves. That is the key. The heroes are down on themselves. They are disappointed. They did not achieve what they wanted to achieve, and it affected them in some way. Luffy could have lost 20 times over the course of the arc. If it doesn't do anything to him, right, if it never changes the tone of the arc, the attitude of the characters, if he's always bouncing back and just being like, oh, well, like, the next panel he's just back up talking about, oh, I'll beat Kaido next time, train a bit more, beat Kaido next time. Like, it never affects him. That's what lack of tension is. Because you can look at past One Piece arcs. Look at Luffy post-defeat to Lucci in Water 7. That's literally the lowest that we've seen Luffy in a long time. It really is, because you can literally see, like, Nami's talking about all their spirits are really low right now because the entire crew is in shambles, and that's the way it is. Robin got taken by the world government. They got crushed. They don't know what's what. They're missing Usopp. They lost the ship. Everybody's in terribly low spirits. That's tension. You see Luffy versus Usopp, the fight, the emotions that are coming out of there, the entire middle section of the Water 7 Enies Lobby arc. That's what tension is, when the characters are affected. You see Luffy post-Sabaody Archipelago, right? The emotions that are coming out after he's lost to Kuma. There's nothing like that in the Wano arc. There's nothing like that. You see Luffy coming into the final round against Crocodile. That Luffy is very angry, upset, frustrated, determined, etc. Because you can see upstairs what's happening with the Straw Hats. You see the Straw Hats after Luffy lost to Crocodile round 1. It's the total opposite of when Luffy lost to Kaido in Wano Act 1. Luffy, after Luffy lost to Crocodile in Alabasta, the Straw Hats are all worried. There's a whole scene where there's tension, where they're stressed, where they're going back and forth about, like, you don't believe in Luffy. That's a lie. I believe in Luffy. You're the one that's worried, etc. That's a great scene. The Straw Hats in Wano, they never give a shit what's happening to Luffy. It doesn't matter. There's no tension. They're never affected by any of it. It may as well just be like, we're just going to keep rolling. There's no tension. That's what tension is. That's what people don't understand about, like, the criticisms of Wano when people say there's no tension, because you think that you can just list off factual narrative events that happen and say that's what tension is. But that's missing the actual substance of the argument, which is how did it affect the characters and the characters' attitudes? Because the level of certainty and the level of, I guess, care, right? The level of care that characters have, the more carefree they are, the more happy, confident, etc. they are, the less tension there is. Because that's just the definition of tension. Tension is when characters feel uncertain, unsure, they feel frustrated, disappointed with themselves. They feel like they need to do better than what they've been doing because They just haven't been able to figure something out, right? When they feel like the odds that they're up against could potentially break them in a way, or at the very least are very difficult to overcome, right? Obviously, the Strahds are always going to believe in themselves, but you look at the attitudes that they've had in past situations when they're up against very, very high odds, and the attitude that they're giving off is never, well, obviously we're just going to win, okay? It's usually we believe in ourselves to overcome this challenge, but this challenge is very difficult. In Wano, it was just like, it's obvious we're going to win. There's no way Luffy's going to lose. Oh, Luffy got knocked off and taken to Udon? Funny joke, funny gag or whatever. Doesn't matter. No one gives a shit about it. That's why there's no tension in Wano. It's very, very different. I wish I could just like put that on a shirt so people understood. Okay. Daniel says, honestly, it's really the Wano specific characters not allowing the opportunities for tension to occur or breathe. I mean, the Wano specific characters, the Scabbards at least, they allowed some tension to come out. The Scabbards were worried. But the Scabbards being worried doesn't mean that much because, like, in pretty much any arc, even like low tension One Piece arcs, the citizens of the given island are going to be stressed about what's going on because they don't know. It's the Straw Hats. That's where you gauge how tense the arc is, right? That's the difference between, say, like an Alabasta and Enies Lobby versus something like, what's a really fucking light One Piece arc? What's a really light? Like Fishman Island, right? Fishman Island, obviously the characters there, you know, in like the Fishman people, they're worried and stressed about the situations, but the Strahds are they're not worried in the slightest at any point really over the course of that arc. So that's why it's kind of like a lower stakes, lower tension arc, but that's fine. That was like coming off the time skip, right? You want to ease into things. All right, let's move it along. Guma Muma says, Hyogoro is the most random and annoying guy in Wano. Hyogoro, I thought that there was something, what do you call? Hyogoro, I thought that there was something, like, more significant to his character that was gonna matter by the end of the story, but I guess he was just a mechanism to train Luffy. Demons Mob says, well, then it's tensions. Don't contradict yourself now, Morj. No, because it's about the characters that are actually going to be carrying out the final action of the story, right? Who are the protagonists? Who are the heroes? Who are the ones that are going to be beating the bad guys? Who are the ones who are actually facing the challenge of the arc, right? That's the Straw Hats. At the end of the day, Scabbards and Momo, etc., they're basically secondary figures to them. Again, like, you look at an arc like Fishman Island, most would say Fishman Island is nowhere near as tense as something like Enies Lobby. Why? Because yeah, obviously the fucking fishmen, like, these are fucking bums. They're like the princes and the Princess Shirahoshi and stuff like that. The random citizens of the island in any arc, they're all obviously gonna be like fucking worried about the situation. You can go all the way back to fucking Orange Town, and yeah, the mayor is gonna be more stressed about Buggy and his pirate crew than Luffy and Zoro. That's not what you judge tension on. It's based on what is the actual hero of the story, the one that's fighting the bad guy, right? The one that's taking on the villains, etc. The whole protagonist squad, etc. What's the level of tension they're feeling? Because the surrounding characters, the supporting cast, they're always supposed to feel worried about stuff. Like, in any One Piece arc, in any story, etc. If you don't even have that, then you don't even have, like, there's not even a conflict at that point. Like, forget tension, you don't even have a conflict. Tension comes from the top down, which is basically most important characters, the key players, the one who are actually supposed to win the big battle, the ones who are actually facing the challenge, right? Not the cheerleaders. The ones who are facing the challenge, how much tension do they feel? Alex Grayson says, thanks for the 10. Have you changed your prediction of Elbaf now that Kid's dining at the Krusty Krab and Shanks has left? Do you still think it'll be Shanks' arc? I do still think it'll be Shanks' arc because Shanks can just come back. If anything, this could give more time for maybe Kid to pick himself back up. But I don't know if he's going to be a relevant character again. I'm just not going to bet on that. Great Piece says, is there a real god in One Piece or just Fate? I don't know. Demon's Mob says Momo isn't a random character. You're not getting it. He's about as significant proportionally to the Wano arc as Shirahoshi is to Fishman Island, as Rebecca is to Dressrosa. tension isn't defined by these, by these island specific, like the characters that need to be saved, basically feeling worried about the situation. That's not what tension is. It's basically who actually has to fucking fight Doflamingo and the Don Quixote pirates. Who has to fight the Fishman pirates, right? Who has to fight the Beast pirates? Who has to defeat Kaido? The level of tension they feel going up against the actual challenge that matters here. That's what matters, because they're the heroes that are carrying out the conflict, right? It's not the sideline characters who are basically like, we live on this island and this is our problem. Obviously, you got a problem. Obviously, the citizens of the island are going to feel like they've got a problem. That's called just having a conflict. That's not tension. Tension is when you have characters that that are at the core of the conflict that feel that they potentially are going to have a great deal of trouble overcoming this conflict. Again, this shouldn't be crazy. It's like Alabasta, Enies Lobby. There are arcs that you can go through in One Piece that do this phenomenally well. We don't have to we don't have to try and twist things in Wano to be like, well, this guy was worried, so therefore the arc had tension. That's just not how it works. Alito5 says, okay, 1 out of 2. I saw Morj today waiting outside an apartment, staring at his watch. When I asked what he was doing, he immediately punched me to the ground. True. Alito5, 2. He repeatedly kicked me in the chest, shouting that no one forces him to show up on time. I now have a pierced lung. Keep up the good work, Morj. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So just keep that in mind next time things are moving a little slow. Back to this, I suppose. Bastille, we're going to count. I don't know if we count Bastille, though. What does Bastille really do? Bastille's not a significant enough character to talk about him. I don't know his personality. I don't know what does he do? Tashigi, Kobe, I know his fighting style. Nezumi, easy. This guy is low-key very underrated. This guy's the guy from the first Marine base that they were at, right? Unless I'm crazy. Do we count him? Do we count Corazon? I guess we count Corazon. Helmeppo. Oh, these guys are great. Is this the guy from the first Marine base who hired Kobe? Demon's Mob says Straw Hats have no need to be scared anymore. It's not about scared. You could argue that the Straw Hats are never scared, but they can feel uncertainty, which is a very different thing. And if you think that they're gonna have the same haha no problem attitude against Blackbeard, against Im, etc., then we literally won't have tension again in the story. In my opinion, I think the strength of opponents should always scale to the strength of the Straw Hats, right? It's like if the Straw Hats can feel tension going up against the Baroque Works pirates, right? Worried about Luffy versus Crocodile, if they can feel tension going up against CP9, worried that the crew's falling apart over the course of Enies Lobby, then they should be worried over the course of the final war, going up against, literally the entire world, the world government, etc. If they literally sail, basically I don't think what I'm asking for is that crazy. All I'm saying is basically when they roll up, right? What chapter? Maybe like this? So, this is their attitude showing up, which is, let's do it with them, the party, the toast, everything. Hee, once we beat Kaido, and Orochi and Big Mom and everyone, let's win this fight, and then we'll have the biggest party yet. Okay? That's the attitude in Wano. If you just compare that to basically, anything in the past, right? This is probably good. Just compare, because this is basically the identical scene, right? Just compare it to this. We're all this is the scene where they're basically heading off to war, right? It's the same shit. Here, they're basically like, we're planning a party, right? That's what's happening. Here, look at if you can't tell the difference in tone, then maybe you just can't tell the difference in tone. We're all heading in the same direction. There's no point in fighting separately. From now on, we're allies. The sea train that's ahead of us has our friends on it. By joining up, our power is stronger. We're not going to be beaten by a wave. We're going to achieve all of our goals. Let's go. Woo. It's the same sort of sentiment, which is belief in oneself. But can you see the difference in tone, right? It's this is an epic scene for an epic battle, right? Marked by a great way to showcase tension, which is a giant wave, symbolizing literally what they're up against, right? They're up against a giant wave. They've lost before. They were in low spirits a little bit ago. They were broken. Everybody was really down. Nobody really believed. Nami had to get them back up by basically explaining, like, Robin's doing all of this for us, so get your spirits back up. That's literally the scenes that were happening. This is what it leads to, right? This is the energy heading into the war, right? This is the energy heading into the war with the world government. This is setting up tension going into the battle. They believe in themselves because they're supposed to, but they're acknowledging the difficulty of the challenge ahead. And that they've got to join up, become stronger. They're not going to lose to this, right? This is literally just this. Let's do it with them. We're going to, once we beat Kaido, and Big Mom Roshi and everyone, let's win this fight and then we'll have the biggest party yet. They're literally party plan. Have you ever heard of before a giant battle in any movie, whatever? Have you ever seen a scene like this where they're literally party planning? That's their main focus before the fight starts. I've just never seen that in any anime, manga, movie, TV show. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. All right, let's move it along. All right. Where are we at? Maynard we can't put. Dude, oh no, we got Sentomaru. I think we're pretty much out. Caesar? I'm not even gonna put Caesar. I just don't count Caesar as a Marine. Although I guess that's playing a fine line. I just don't count him. Aokiji, Saul. Virgo's a pirate, right? He's a pirate first and foremost. He was never a true Marine. Morgan, Kong, Bellamere. That's what I got. Okay. Do we have, if there's anybody else you feel like should be in here that isn't, speak your piece now. But these are the Marines that we got. I'm not putting Bogard. We don't know anything about Bogard. Oh, let's get the Streamlikes to 400 before we start ranking. I think we got Sengoku. Oh, am I crazy? We don't have Sengoku? Okay. I don't know why Sengoku's image looks like this. But we got Sengoku now. Sengoku, I think, is a good character. Oh, no. Let's get this version of Sengoku more instantly visually recognizable. Yeah, I'm just not putting these guys. So, anyone from here. The Outback Panda, thanks a lot. I'm Bellamere's biggest fan. Please treat her right. Bellamere is going to go probably in S tier among best Marine characters. Bogart doesn't have a... He doesn't do anything. Parvision, he doesn't do it. We don't know his character at all. Maynard, I don't know about Maynard. Diaz Barrels, he was X-Drake's dad who found lost fruit in his flashbacks as Brandon King. I just don't think we know enough about his character for me to be like rating him. These are all characters that we can talk about. Why is Stainless here? Fuck. He's breaking exactly the type of standard I'm trying to explain right now. These are characters we've seen enough of and they've talked enough about. Okay, you got a spectrum, right? So you got Green Bull, for example, who's only shown up once, but we got enough out of him right there that we can kind of understand what he's about, who he is and what he's about, right? Then you got like Brand New, who has basically just been an announcer for the longest time, and And we don't maybe know the most about his character, but he's shown up so much that he's worth talking about, right? So we got that spectrum, but that doesn't mean that anybody that's shown up frequently just makes the cut, because I can't tell you what type of a character Doberman is, really. I just can't. Peter Fox says, Luffy gets one-shotted, Scabbards show up to empty port, Luffy dies. Maybe because Wano was structured differently, Oda added a little tension in each act. So I definitely agree that the chapter where, I definitely agree that the chapter where Luffy dies has tension. I definitely agree that, and I don't want to linger on this stuff too long. I'm not talking about the Scabbards showing up to an empty port, because it's just immediately negated by everything following that, which is characters just showing up extremely hyped and basically saying that, like, the conflict's not going to be any big deal. So yes, it's sad that the Scabbards were upset or whatever, but that's not really, again, they're not the characters that are going to actually be carrying out the action of the arc. So it's just not the same thing, right? It, in theory, can add, it can set the tone. It definitely sets tone, but that's not the same as tension. Those two often go hand in hand, but just because the Scabbards are upset in that situation, you can read the entire following stretch of chapters and basically see that once the Alliance shows up, the actual characters that are going to be leading the battle, which is Luffy, etc., the Straw Hats, they're not worried in the slightest, which is very different. That's where the tension would come from. Now, for the other 2 points, the main one I'll talk about is Luffy dying briefly, right? That was, 1043, right? That's great. That's a chapter that has tension. Half a chapter of tension. In a 50-chapter long battle, right? We get half a chapter of tension at the very end. I should hope that at the bare minimum, at the absolute bare minimum, right, you would get a little bit of tension in literally the final chapters of the final battle, right? An arc with tension usually establishes that over the course of the story, right? It is the absolute bare minimum that the first time that the Alliance, that the Straw Hats, whatever, are made to feel any sort of genuine uncertainty about the fate of the battle is one chapter, half a chapter, at the very end of the entire battle, which means you basically went the entire battle up to then with absolute confidence. That's what I'm talking about, right? Because if I look at Enies Lobby, that same chapter in Wano that you're pointing to where, oh no, it looked bad because, for the first time they were shook. For the first time in the entire arc, that the Straw Hat crew, the Alliance, was shook, right? That's the first time in the arc that they were shook. One chapter at the very end. If I look through the whole Water 7 Enies Lobby arc, that type of tension was predominant, and you got scenes like that throughout the entire arc, right? Water 7, I can point to 10 different scenes where you see the Straw Hats genuinely really shook, genuinely really uncertain about what's going to happen next, feeling like the world is falling down upon them, the sky is falling, everything's going to shit, right? Enies Lobby, that's their triumphant rise back, so that's where they're supposed to get their victory. But even then, you have multiple points where they're just like, fuck, we lost Robin again. Fuck, we're screwed. Fuck, the Buster Call is bearing down on us. We might not make it out of here alive. Usopp and Luffy, right? Their final interaction and everything like that, where it seems like Luffy has literally lost, and you're getting that dramatic scene, which, in my opinion, was more dramatic than anything that happened in even the finale of Wano, but, maybe that's open to debate or whatever. But the point is basically, like, you take one thing that happened in Wano, which there was legitimate tension in, and you can look at so many One Piece arcs. I could look at Alabasta as well and point to many moments throughout that arc and be like, yeah, this is that type of tension. This is that type of tension. This is uncertainty. This is characters not feeling like they've got a guaranteed win. This is characters being shook, thrown off their game, right? That's what I'm trying to get at, because if you can only point to one little thing towards the end where you're like, look, this is definitely where the Straw Hats were really shaken, really uncertain about their victory against the Beast Pirates, really didn't think for the first time that, hey, maybe we're not 100% going to just sweep this up and have our big party, and that's just one chapter at the end, that's kind of insane, because you can get to a much shorter arc, even like Arlong Park, and Arlong Park had Arlong Park is 20 chapters, 30 chapters or something like that. Arlong Park has significantly more chapters where the Straw Hats are uncertain, shaken, have low spirits, don't know what to do next, don't know how the outcome of a battle or conflict or their existence as a crew is going to be like in that span of 30 chapters, than across the entire 150 chapters of Wano. So there's just not really discussion here. When you say like Oda could have structured it differently, it's like, well, there's a certain story structure which is just like have tension in the middle of the story. That's basically it. That's how he's done it for every single arc. That's how every writer for every manga ever does it. That's how every writer for every movie, TV show, book ever does it in any sort of, traditional sort of narrative fantasy fiction plot work, right? There's other variations where obviously if it's like a tragic story where you're supposed to lose towards the end or something like that, say like a Marineford saga, then actually there's more tension towards the end and maybe a lot less towards the beginning and middle and stuff like that. But in any sort of generic heroes overcome villain storyline, it's literally been the bread and butter of storytelling for, I don't know, 10,000 years. There's not much more, like, there's not really, I don't know. there's not, I don't know how many different ways I could possibly explain it. It's just like, you can look at just the story of One Piece and compare each arc structure to Wano and be like, okay, this arc obviously had this stuff, and then Wano didn't. This arc had this stuff, and then Wano didn't. John678 says, Morj, can you put the guys with the question marks as names in the list? Those 4 are my favorite characters in the entire series. Thanks. You've got some interesting taste, my friend. But I am going to have to exclude them, even though you asked very nicely. We could name them right here. I'm not interested in naming them. All right. Steven Ricano says, Miss Super Chat, you can see tension on the micro to get a feel. Chopper versus Kumadori is a more tense fight than Nami versus Khalifa. Chopper struggled and doubted himself more. Yeah, that's just what tension is. That's just what tension is. All right. We need some sort of a blanket rule to not go over tension again. There needs to be something. There needs to be something. But if people ask about it, I just can't resist. It's just the way it is. Okay. Let's get into the tier list. Gustavo says, you're not going to add Jonathan, easily S tier. Oh, well, he's not a real character though. He's like is he on the list? I don't see him. If he was here, I would consider doing it. Triple judge guy from any slobby? He's not a Marine. He's a judge. You kind of said it in the name, Okay. I didn't put Virgo because Virgo's not a Marine. He's a pirate pretending to be a Marine. I think that's a different thing, in my opinion. I think that there was no point where Virgo was honestly a Marine. Because you could be like, well, then why do you have Aokiji listed? Because Aokiji was honestly a Marine for a long time. I don't think there was any point where Virgo was not a double agent, is what I'm saying. Okay. Let's start ranking. This is going to be difficult, though, because I didn't really set any parameters for what the best Marines mean. Name named. Thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. No Bodyguard. No, I'm fucking sick of people mentioning Bogard. I'm sick of this dude. Name one line of dialogue. I want you guys right now to name 2 lines of dialogue that Bogart has in the entire story. Name it 2 lines of dialogue. Vegapunk is not a Marine. Ooh says thoughts on basketball, Morj. We're gonna stay away from that. I'm gonna say all I'll say is this, and I'll leave it at this. The first round of playoffs is really, really exciting. Okay. We good? Not missing anybody, right? Hi, I'm Bogard. Bogard is me. Done and done, says Harmon. Grev Lunch says calm down, Garp. Does he actually say that? That might be a real line that he says. He says calm down, Garp. Give me a chapter. What's the chapter? Let's look at where Bogard says this, his infamous line. Give me the chapter where he says it. We're going to look it up right now. Chaton? No, he does. They don't have enough character to say. Goomba Boomba, I need some chapters. I need some chapters to examine this man's character. It might be like post any slot. Okay, this is not good enough for me. We're gonna start ranking the guys we've got. Garp is an S tier character in my opinion. I think we'll just start it off pretty clear. I think Garp is an S tier character. I think that Garp gets a. You know what's crazy? Here, I don't know if you guys know about this. Who knows about this? One Piece Romance Dawn version 2. Let me see real quick. One thing. Okay. This might be a shocker for you guys. I'm going to show you guys something really, really interesting real quick. Some of you guys will find this interesting. Some of you guys might already know. This is One Piece Romance Dawn version 2. For those of you who don't know, the chapter 1 of One Piece that you guys read here, right? This chapter 1 of One Piece, this is not the real first chapter of One Piece. Or, I mean, it is the real first chapter of One Piece, but this is actually version 3 of the first chapter of One Piece. This is Romance Dawn, the third version, as far as I know, that reached publication. This is Romance Dawn, the second version. There is a first version, it's irrelevant to this discussion. But this is the second version of Romance Dawn that Oda got published as a one-shot or something like that. So if you look at this version of Romance Dawn, and you see a lot of the same trademark things that make it to the final cut of One Piece, right? You've got, obviously, Luffy. You've got, let's see. Yeah, Buggy was always going to be one of the first villains, so this is the first version of Buggy. He's actually a lot scarier. We've got Nami, but her name is Anne. I forgot she's got a different name here. Her personality's a little tamer. I remember this. The Nami that we actually get is much more interesting. This Nami is a lot more, I don't know, a lot more generic, I suppose. Our Nami has more of a personality and more of a, she's a trickster, she's a thief, she's got a more interesting, conniving personality to her. But this Nami is pretty generic. This Buggy, his name is Six-Sided Spiel or whatever, but this guy is kind of lame. No, not. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. He makes Buggy look kind of lame. Other way around. He makes Buggy look kind of lame because this guy's design is a little creepier. He's still a gag character, whatever, but doesn't matter. Anyway, moving things along, let me get to my point. Just providing some education. So, first version of One Piece. You know who gave Luffy the hat? It wasn't Shanks. It was Garp. Garp was a pirate in the first version of One Piece. Garp was the guy that inspired Luffy. You guys seeing this shit? It's this weird alternate reality stuff. It's his grandfather, still in this version. It's his grandfather. The story is a bit more straightforward. It's just Luffy accidentally eating the fruit. Things are a little bit different in that Luffy actually starts by pretending he doesn't want to be a pirate. He says, no, I can't swim. I don't like the sea either. I don't want to be a pirate. Garp's encouraging him to be a pirate. The version of One Piece we finally get is actually Luffy wanting to be a pirate and Shanks explaining to him that he's not ready, so it's the reverse. I think that's a bit more interesting. Luffy then reveals that he secretly wanted to be a pirate, but now he's upset because he ate the fruit and stuff like that. That's the only real twist to this. Same thing, the sea is different from a river or lake. It's a beast. He's telling him not to underestimate the sea. So a lot of the messaging is the same, but I think the final version of Romance Dawn we got was much more interesting, obviously, with Shanks making the sacrifice of his arm for the Sea King, all of that stuff. It's much more dramatic. But anyway, bottom line being, isn't that pretty interesting that Garp was once going to be, the role that Shanks has was once Garp's role, and Garp was probably going to be an even more important figure in the story. I think Oda just found it a more interesting route to go with Garp being a Marine to contrast that with Luffy, and the greatest Marine to contrast that with Luffy. And there's one last thing that I'm really glad Oda didn't keep from this original version, or second version of One Piece, which is the concept of peace main pirates, which is, Anne is under the impression that there are all pirates are bad. Luffy explains that there's two types of pirates. There's peace mains and Morganeers. Pirates who go on adventure, who just go on adventures and don't hurt citizens and stuff like that. They're called peace mains. Pirates that pillage and stuff like that are Morganeers. So it made the very black and white description of there's good guy pirates and uh, the white side, which is good guy pirates, black side, which is bad pirates, and stuff like that. I like that the real version of One Piece is not so black and white. It makes the story much more subtle and nuanced, which is just that, you know, what does it mean to be a pirate, really, right? What does it mean to pursue freedom? There are people who go about it very different ways, and it's a lot more open to interpretation, but the same ideas that you see later in the story, like, we can classify so many One Piece pirates that we know of in the story as like, well, this guy's a Peace Main, this guy's a Morganeer, right? But the point that Oda didn't define it so cut and dry is a lot better writing, in my opinion. Anyway, history lesson over. Back to the tier list. Ace by Comeback says Doll is an auto S tier. I rest my case. I'm gonna leave Doll out of this. Jaquan Butler says Green Bull is B tier so far. Not as interesting as other Marines yet, but his powers are straight eye candy. Ignore if you mean character writing. Yeah, we're talking about character writing. Isaac Safe says, what you do if you need to move to India permanently? I think that moving to India permanently would be like, I don't think I could do it, but I could see myself living there for a year and enjoying it. Spade says, just now realizing the Sea King did more damage to Shanks than Kid. Yeah, we can scale that Sea King above Kid. And then Luffy defeated that Sea King, so honestly, it's kind of sad that Chapter 1 Luffy is stronger than current day Kid. It's kind of crazy. Alright, John Giant, I think, is a solid C tier Marine in terms of character writing. We basically get nothing out of this dude, right? Very generic. Very, about as generic as it gets. As far as we know, he sides with the Marines. There's nothing more to him than that. He's the most significant giant on the Marines. That's all we got from him, right? Onigumo I'm putting in B because he's cool. Like, I think Onigumo is one of the coolest Vice Admiral designs. Onigumo also put in the most work out of any Vice Admiral not named Garp in the Marineford War. Why? Because he was responsible for capturing Marcos, or severely hindering Marcos' ability to fight using Seastone handcuffs. That was really what... Because Marco wasn't doing badly before that. You know, it's not like he was going to beat Kizaru, but his ability was holding up. Once the Seastone handcuffs were put on him, Kizaru was basically able to go to town and start just poking him with lasers and shit. Momonga I'm going to put in A. And you know what? We're probably going to need some more tiers. Hold on. I think this should be fine. Let me make this green. Wait, what? What the fuck? Okay, makes sense. Yeah, because I feel like Momonga's not A tier, but I feel like he's better than these guys. So, I don't know what A tier means exactly. Shit. No, we'll figure it out. I'm going to put Momonga here. Change John Giant for Bastille right now? I don't know much about Bastille's character. I feel like John Giant's been more for presence in the story. Mechlor says, crazy, I went and took a shower and we've only done Garp. Hey, you haven't missed anything, so that's a good thing. Guys, let's get the stream likes to 400. Okay, Akainu, in my opinion, I don't know if this is controversial, but I think Akainu is an S tier character. What do we think about that? I think Akainu is an S tier character. I think Akainu is wildly interesting. I think the level of... Because especially once you're talking about Marine villains, right? I think Akainu is about as good as it gets when you want, from what you want out of a Marine villain. Because he's not just he's not some cackling evil... I think that's one of the things. I felt like Green Bull, in comparison, is a bit... it's a bit too much of a sort of... I don't know, just sheep mentality, I suppose. He's just the ultimate... He's the ultimate sheep, I suppose you could say. Yeah, we're saying S, right? Yeah, like Green Bull's a bad guy, and he upholds a lot of the world government values and everything like that, but it feels too... The way he thinks, it feels too just like a pre-programmed robot that just believes all of the... all of the dogma that he's been fed, right? Akainu feels as though everything that he's coming at, it feels as though it's his own personal sense of justice Nobody orders him to destroy the civilian ship, as far as we know. That's not supposed to happen. But Akainu has this hardcore mentality, which is just that evil has to be rooted out from its core, right? You can't have any sort of gray area, right? It's got to be, if it falls under this label, it's got to be absolute, right? He really is the definition of absolute justice. I kind of want to see what he says here. Where does the civilian ship get destroyed? Civilian ship. Here. Yeah, fuck these guys for not letting Robin on. This was such a good moment. This is such a good moment in retrospect, right? Because you see Saul, who's had his eyes open, right? You see Saul, who's had his eyes open. You see Aokiji, who probably has the heart of a good person, but not necessarily the open mind to really question everything that he's being told to do. And you see these two trying to talk, right, and understand one another. And then you get, this is such a great panel, actually, right? You get the ship being destroyed in the background. And in this moment, it's painfully obvious who is correct and who is incorrect, and why Saul is right to be having an open mind, and why Aokiji made a mistake to just believe that what he's supposed, like, this is what he's saying before this. You can understand that Aokiji doesn't even tell Saul that he's wrong. He says the thing called justice changes its shape depending on where you stand, so I won't blame you for your justice. So he's not even trying to attack Saul over it, but he's just like, I'm not interested in thinking about it. If I'm told this for the greater good, I have no opinion. So he's not interested in thinking. This is the moment that makes him think. This moment is so crucial because this is probably the moment that makes him not kill Saul. Maybe he would have done that anyway out of friendship. But more importantly, it's the moment that makes him not kill Robin. Because he wasn't supposed to do that in the first place. He was, I guess, because Robin's a scholar, so not an innocent civilian. But after seeing that moment, it makes Aokiji come to this crossroads. Absolute justice sometimes drives a man insane. It's just a good, like, you know what his, you can see the moment that his mind changes as to what he's doing. And Akainu's on the other end, which is if any of the scholars had managed to sneak on board, all sacrifices would have been a complete waste. Evil needs to be rooted out. So 3 vice admirals, right? One with an open mind and a good heart, which is Saul. One with a good heart but a closed mind. And then one with just a blanket closed mind and arguably not a good heart. Probably not. And I think that the spectrum of vice admirals here is really, really good in this chapter. If any of the scholars have managed to stick on board, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. So even his philosophy seems maybe a little cookie cutter here, but I think the more that we get out of Akainu and just the way that he views pirates and evil, etc., I think the fact that it's so black and white, and the fact that he also questions, like, he's not just a blind, I'll just, like, robot, I'll follow my orders, etc., because we can even see the moment that he doesn't, like, there are moments that he doesn't agree with the world government, right? He doesn't just sit back and be like, whatever the world government does is correct. He's following his own, at the end of the day, if he thinks, why are they letting a pirate manipulate them, right? He believes that that's wrong. So he's actually very strong, like, it's his own philosophies that he's following and living by at the end of the day. Even if they happen to align heavily with what the world government preaches, I think it's interesting that he's got such a black and white mentality and such an absolute mentality, but it's his own, and it's something that, it's not just something that's been instilled in him necessarily by a higher power. So I like that. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna just throw Aokiji in S tier, just based on that. Manny Corral says Green Bull is an Akainu simp. He's an Akainu simp, but I'd say he's more so a world government simp, and it's kind of just Akainu's his boss, so he wants to do what Akainu says. Interestingly, Green Bull doesn't throw Fujitora out of Marijoa like Akainu orders him to early on, which I think gave us the wrong idea of his character. So I don't know if that's an inconsistency or something, or maybe he's just afraid to fight Fujitora, or I don't know exactly what it is. I'm going to go ahead and put Green Bull in... Let's do the easy ones first. Let's throw Aokiji in S, because I really don't know where to put Green Bull. I'm tempted to put Green Bull in D for the moment, with open to moving him up. I just don't, because it's various factors, right? I feel like his level of threat as an admiral was heavily undermined right off the bat, which I think is so unfortunate, because I think one of the best ways that Oda's written the admirals in the story so far, one of the best things he's done with the admirals so far, is just like make them seem really, really like impactful and badass right off the bat, right? Green Bull, it kind of happened with the king and queen scene, which was an amazing moment for many readers. We were just like, had our minds blown. It's just so immediately overshadowed by what happens with, you know, with Shanks and everything, that it's hard to even care about the king and queen scene anymore, right? Like, I don't know. Akainu right off the bat, he's made to feel like terrifying. Like Kizaru, I feel like around here. Yeah, like look, like Kizaru right off the bat, he's just frying. Look at this. Kizaru right off, the first thing he's doing is like frying all these characters. And Akainu, I don't even have to say anything, right? Like Akainu's big debut essentially is I mean, he does a lot in the war before this, but like the war really was, I wouldn't say it's a bit of an Akainu showcase, but it's definitely the Marine that ended up sort of becoming the star of the show by the end of it, right? So, I mean, just look at this. Look at what's... The other Marines are treated so well. They're treated so well. Even Fujitora. Fujitora, it's not like he crushes the Straw Crew or something like that, but the first couple things he does are really badass. Like calling the meteor down and everything like that. He's got Doflamingo and Law kind of shaking in their boots. I feel like that's around... It's like 713? 7-11? Yeah, like, look at it. Yeah, look, like, you got Doflamingo worried, you got Law worried. It's just a cool scene. Like, they're just like, what the fuck? He's like, this is just a little warm-up. And then you got Green Bull on the other end, which is just like... I just want to show the contrast, because it's just like, why? I don't get it. Why do him like this? Why do him like this, man? I'm on one chapter off, maybe. Like, it's just kind of crazy. Like, damn, Aokiji. Terrifying. Truly living up to the title of what this chapter is, which is the ultimate attack force, right? That's Aokiji's introduction. And you got Kizaru. There's like a chapter, Kizaru versus the 4 supernovas, and he just casually wipes them all out, right? And then you got Akainu, no explanation needed, right? Took a piece off of Whitebeard's head a little bit after this, killed Ace. Like, well, what else is to say? Fujitora. He's not even getting that serious against strong characters too, right? This is the New World. He's not up against like pre-time skip supernova or whatever, but he's just warming up. He's got them sweating. Crazy feat right off the bat. The Meteor chapter was really hype when it first came out. And then this dude. It's just not quite the same, is it? I'm tempted to put him in D, with obvious room for him to move up. You could say that his philosophies are interesting or something like that, so therefore his character is interesting. I think he's already set the bar really low for our expectation of him as a intimidating threat, which is really what I want out of an admiral villain, almost first and foremost, along with good character writing. I also feel like the way he talks is a bit just too cookie cutter, generic sheep henchman type villain. So I'm gonna put him in D for now. I'm gonna put him in D. I'm talking about all this shit everyone's still talking about Bogard. What the fuck? Does nobody care? I'm going through the history of all the admirals. I check chat. It's Shu and Bogard greater than Akainu. The fuck? Why do I even bother? Anthony's crew says, nah, I can't listen. Thanks for the 10. I can't let this Green Bull slander continue. He doesn't listen to anyone. He has his own mind and does what he believes, and he's a great character. He admires Akainu, who's got great potential. That's true. He did break the rules going to Wano Kuni and just doing whatever. He did break the rules in that. He wasn't supposed to. That is interesting. It's just, look, I can't lie, guys. When I think of Green Bull nowadays, I can't get this out of my head. It's just, I literally can't, I can't get, why is he saying da? The fuck is this? Da. Da. Wait, stop. That's, who's doing that? Why are his hands up? He didn't have to put his hands up. Why is he sweating so much and his hands are still up? His hands are up for like 3 straight pages. This is crazy. Oh my god. What is he doing? Alright. Maybe it's not. I'm keeping him in D. I don't care. I'm keeping him in D. But thank you for the argument, Anthony's crew. Jaquan Butler says, I hope Oda does not fumble Akainu's backstory. I don't know if he's going to get a backstory. Hashtag justice for Bogart, says Grandpa Bob. Alright, fine. You know what? We'll put Bogart in. Where is he? Where is this dude? We'll put Bogart in. Alright, you guys asked for it. I will respect your wishes. You guys get your Bogart. Things I do for this chat to make you guys happy. I rearranged the whole thing to add this dude. Alright, we happy? Are we satisfied? Alright, moving on to Suru. I think Suru is a solid... Who do we like better, Suru or Momonga? Let me ask you guys. Who do you guys like better as a character? Who do you think's a better character? I know they don't have a ton of time, but I'm actually quite a Suru fan. We just don't know much about her. Suru's not an S. She's too little going for a character to be an S. Suru's not an S. Get the hell out of here. Oh, you guys are talking about Bogart. Alright. Do we put Suru in... Oh, Momonga's winning now. I'm just going to keep them both in B tier. Solid Marines that I guess we don't know that much about. Oh, this is a tight one. 49, 51%. Oh, guys, let's get the Streamlabs to 500. This is really tight. Very, very tight. Yeah, I'm just going to keep them in the same tier. That sounds about right. Hina. I like Hina. Hina's funny. Hina's funny. There's not much more to say about her, though. She kind of falls into this category, doesn't she? I feel like I like Hina a little bit, but I think she falls into this category. These are Marines where I feel like we like them. They're familiar faces. We get enough out of their personality and their abilities that it's always an interesting time when they're on screen, but there's not that much more to say about their character, you know? Kizaru, I'm putting in A. This makes sense. This is why I made an A tier. Kizaru, there's not enough substance to him, in my opinion. You think Hina C? Why is Hina in C? Hina C? I like Hina better than Onigumo. I guess is it how much I like him? I just feel like Hina's more relevant. I like the fact that she's old school friends with Smoker. Hina Loki did a lot of cleanup. She captured most of Baroque works. She should have gotten promoted. I'll put Hina in C. Sure. Mechlor says Shanks is being too hyped up to the point where it hurts other characters of the story. El Ramaki. I think you should have just gone with... Yeah, El Ramaki. It's hard to put an L in front of Aramaki's name. El Ramaki and Mid are victims of this ruthless hype abomination. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of saying with these... Like, look. Every Admiral's introduction was to hype Shanks. Or, no. To hype the Admirals, right? Every Admiral's introduction was to hype the Admirals, right? Aokiji. Introduction we can use loosely. Like, what's their official introduction, right? Fujitora. Akainu's initial introduction, where he kind of showed off what he could do, was reflects his ability, was melting an iceberg, which is cool, but nothing crazy. I would say this is kind of you can kind of treat the whole Marineford, that 20 chapter battle, as basically the build up to a kind of really stamping his mark on the story, I would say. Fujitora, same thing. We got a little preview of him earlier on at the bar scene, but this is really when he started flexing, I'm Fujitora the Admiral, right? All of their opening scenes, like their big combat scenes that are kind of memorable towards the beginning of their role in the story, it really hypes up those admirals. Green Bull is the only one whose introductory scene exists to hype up Shanks, who is a character who is already overflowing with hype up scenes throughout One Piece. If there's any character that doesn't need more hype up scenes, I think it's Shanks. Actually, I'll redact that statement because I think this came at a very good time. I think we did almost need this for Shanks at this point in time. This is before the kid stuff happened, right? So we didn't know that we were in for another major Shanks hype scene soon. But if you guys remember, Shanks stopped the war, and since then he didn't really do anything, or he didn't really have any sort of combat moment or anything like that, or any sort of flex moment. So it's been a long while, and we go through the New World and we're being told, hey, Kaido's the strongest, right? Kaido's the strongest. Big Mom's also getting a lot of hype. You know, as a child, she was this freak of nature, took out all the giants. She seems close to, if not equal to, Kaido. They're just, Kaido and Big Mom are really being built up as these monsters. So I think by the end of the Wano arc, we all kind of intuitively understood that, okay, it's very likely that Kaido and Big Mom weren't maybe the strongest characters, but it's still kind of up in the air where they're exactly supposed to stand. I think it's really good that Oda ended Wano with a scene to hype up Shanks, because you just closed this huge epic saga against supposedly the two biggest beasts, like the two biggest monsters in the world, right? You want to get the reader to kind of zoom out and reframe perspective and understand there's a bigger picture, right? There's a bigger picture. Those two seem like they're the biggest deal, but there's bigger shit coming, and the characters I've been saving for last are going to be even more exciting. So just because I've been keeping quiet with this guy Shanks, don't forget, this dude was always waiting around the corner. This is the same man that stopped Kaido from going to Marineford, the same man that stopped the Marineford War, the greatest war in the history of the Great Pirate Era, and he's being saved for the last arc, right? So I think it was really, really good, actually, that we closed Wano with something like this, because I think after this chapter came out, pretty much everyone just started putting Shanks above Kaido and Big Mom. Whereas earlier in Wano, I think a lot of people assumed that Shanks is not as strong as Kaido. Or, like, a lot of people were like, Kaido's been around longer, longer pedigree, he's being called the strongest creature. Shanks is probably really close, but, you know, not quite there. Then I think once the Wano battle actually began on Onigashima, and Kaido dropped his top 5, and you saw the silhouette of Shanks and everything, people were like, no, maybe Shanks is on Kaido's level, or maybe stronger. And then this was kind of the nail in the coffin, right? Kaido just lost. He lost much earlier in the story than, the final characters in the series or whatever that are being saved. He lost to Luffy, and we can all assume Luffy's not as strong as Shanks yet, and Shanks is out here just flexing on an admiral like no other character in the story ever has. I think the timing of the scene was good. I just wish that there was a way to do it without just shitting on a new character like Green Bull, you know, because he needs his hype too. Maybe space these two things out. Maybe, I don't know, man. Narrator, thanks for the 20. Fujitora blinded himself. Wait, let's read this. Hold on. Fujitora blinded himself, seemingly has the most complicated and strongest belief in justice, never got serious but was OP in terms of Dressrosa arc, and plot-wise he initiated the downfall of the warlord system, S-tier period. I would 100% agree, and I've said this for a bit. I dropped a video on it a couple months back. I personally think that Fujitora will be the fleet admiral of the Marines at the end of the story, and I think that's why he was introduced, because Fujitora has the truest, purest attitude that is correct for what Marines should be out of any of the strong Marines in the story. Above even Garp, above even Sengoku, because Fujitora does not, he has the truest sense of justice. The truest sense of what justice means to a T, which is, it's got nothing to do with who has authority or who is saying what should or shouldn't be done. Justice should always be, justice is blind, right? It has nothing to do with who is giving the orders, who is saying what should or shouldn't be done or whatever. It should always be judged based on what is actually right and wrong in the situation, who are the victims, who are the oppressors, and everything he does. He is the first Marine, I think, to just openly support Luffy over the course of an arc, because he's able to recognize that it doesn't matter if it's a pirate. That guy can carry out justice perfectly fine, right? That's something that nobody else really that we've seen, like Sengoku, Garp, they all do it in their own little ways. They have these leniencies and understanding. Like, you know, Garp probably knows Roger's not a bad guy and stuff. He even fought on Roger's side. But all of this stuff is very begrudging, right? I don't think Fujitora, like, Garp doesn't even want to talk about the fact that he teamed up with a pirate. I don't think Fujitora feels any shame at all about siding with or helping Luffy in the Dressrosa conflict. I feel like he's very proud of that. Fujitora also, the fact that he bows at the end of that, that's something that the Marines are supposed... It symbolizes everything of what the Marines are supposed to be, which is, throughout the One Piece world, the Marines have basically been the ones that dictate, you know, they strong-arm countries and nations, and basically being like, you need us for protection, right? Everything from Nami's island, right, all the way to the New World, where islands are abandoned by the Marines if they don't pay Celestial Gold and stuff. They use their protection as a weapon to strong-arm islands, nations, people, etc., into basically being beholden to the Marines, right? Fujitora bowing to the king and to the country is basically exactly what a police force in theory should be, which is 100% in service of the people, right? You guys are the ones in charge. If we fucked up, we fucked up. We need to make it up to you because we work for you. We should be working for you to bring justice on your behalf, right? So I think Fujitora is the perfect fleet admiral. I think Aokiji's a great candidate as well, because you could argue that the character arc that he could potentially go through after having seen both sides on the world government side, and then like quitting the world government, what he told Smoker, which is like, once you quit the Marines, a lot of things become more clear. So having his eyes open, especially the Ohara incident, things like that. You could argue that between quitting the Marines, assuming he's not a member of SWORD or anything like that, I mean, he might be, it could still work. You could argue that Aokiji's character arc makes him a better candidate for Fleet Admiral, but Fujitora is already there. He's already the most honorable and ideal version of what a Marine should be in the story period, in my opinion. Yeah. I actually didn't like Fujitora that much initially. Not that I disliked him. I just, he's like a very goody-goody character. I didn't dislike him at all. It's just, he's a very goody-goody character. Yeah, he's just, I was just like, yeah, this guy's a really good dude. Not much else to say about him. He doesn't really have, like, any sort of edge about him. He's kind of a little preachy with his morals, but in retrospect, it's all very good and very important to the ideas of the story, and you need a character like that. Tom, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Green Bull gives Jack vibes, but at least Jack was commanded by Kaido. Also, Morj, I love your videos and streams. Thank you so much, man. Thanks a bunch. They make me much happy. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Thanks again for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months, man. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, Jack was commended by Kaido, not commanded. Yeah, I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, Green Bull, he's captured Weevil, captured King and Queen. He did impressive stuff. It's just, honestly, it's this. If we had gotten to see a scene of him just beating up King and Queen, and then give it a little space, give it a few chapters, and then Shanks scares him off, I think that would be good. Because even right now, you have a lot of people saying, well, we don't know how injured King and Queen were. A lot of people are like, well, King and Queen were probably like lying there on their deathbed or some shit, and then Green Bull just came in and wrapped them up and took them. Because just everything looks a little different after you see him look like a bitch, you know? Anthony Cruz, thanks for the 10. Green Bull had a great intro. Pirate Cruise with over 10 bill. Country of Samurai and Red-Haired Pirates. Shanks was bloodlusted, and he didn't want to deal with the Red-Haired Pirates as well. 1v1000 at least. Yeah, these are all... What you're talking about are all, like technical things. Like, yeah, Green Bull was probably worried about the full Red-Haired Pirates. He says, you know, the Red-Haired Pirates, are you nearby? But at the same time, like, the thing that really throws him right away is the... no question, right? You can give that explanation first here, right? Like, this is if I'm being technical, right? Here, he's like, oh, the Red-Haired Pirates. This is when he has that realization. But no matter how you spin it, right off the bat, this bitchly Da that I've never seen any other admiral say. I don't think I'll ever see another admiral caught dead saying this shit. Da. These two panels are clearly him being very terrified and scared of, there's no way you can spin it, right? It's just the Conqueror's Haki. That's what's throwing him. This, you know, is when he's realizing it's the Red-Haired Pirates. This is before he has that realization. This is purely a reaction to Conqueror's Haki, which does not make him look good no matter how you look. that's me being technical. If we want to go beyond me being technical, I get it, right? You could even argue like this scene beforehand where he's doing well against all the scabbards. That's really good. That's close to like Kaido level stuff, right? Kaido fought a more complete group of scabbards, some were in Sulong form and stuff like that, but this is still impressive, right? And it seems like he's actually captured a lot of them here. And even Yamato, I guess, whatever, stopped doing whatever, but it's, Green Bull is impressive, but it's not about, how to explain this? It's not about the technicality of what happened, right? It's about the feeling you get while reading these pages, right? What's the biggest takeaway? Like, what's the feeling you get reading this character past a certain point? It's hard to get away from the sense that this guy, like, that's just what stands out the most over the course of these chapters, right? This sort of wipes out the memory because it's just so memorable, right? Shanks scaring Green Bull off feels like the most memorable thing out of this stretch of chapters. And his reactions, right? Even if they're technically logically understandable, it's still very, very... The feeling you get reading them is very, very, very underwhelming, I suppose. You're kind of just like, damn, that looks pathetic, right? This feels somewhat pathetic, right? You can go back and contextualize it, but I'm just saying that in terms of, because, I mean, reading and storytelling is an emotional experience more than a logical one at the end of the day, right? I'm not technically, like, you got to understand, I'm not technically power scaling. This is not a power scaling thing, right? Because I can understand logically, he should go right up here, right? Right up here, right up here. Like, logically, these guys are all, Admiral type, Fleet Admiral, Yonko level, whatever you want to say. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the feeling I'm getting, like, when I read these chapters, right? This makes the introductory panels or moments, right, for these admirals, the framing, the way that they are so unfazed, so unaffected by everything, the impact that they have on everybody else, how they're able to just look like the strongest, scariest figures out there in these, the ultimate threat in each of these scenes, right? That's the feeling that is being imparted by all of these scenes and the way those scenes are crafted. This is not the same thing. It just is. It's the opposite. It makes me feel that way about Shanks, but at the cost of feeling that way about Green Bull. So yeah, he's gonna stay in D. Again, this is not a power scaling thing. Power scaling, he should be along with the other Admiral characters, right? I'm saying in terms of how did it feel reading the pages of Green Bull versus how did it feel reading the Straw Hats just getting wrecked completely as a crew by Aokiji? How did it feel reading Kizaru just walk over 4 different supernovas? How did it feel seeing Akainu actually kill a character for the first time in the story and it's Luffy's brother in front of his eyes? How did it feel seeing Fujitora pull a fucking meteor down and have Law and Doflamingo shitting their pants? With Green Bull, yeah, it felt really, really crazy seeing him just take out King and Queen like that, but it's just that whole feeling is so severely overshadowed by what comes next, which is just like, this feels like he got bitched. That's just the feeling you get reading it. And that's not what I want out of an Admiral, even if I felt like it was really cool at the time, because it was a good time to hype up Shanks. Anthony Screw says, Green Bull is Italian, he talks with his hands. Oh, that's, okay, maybe. Dank KX Cookie says, have you seen the spoilers for 1081? I saw one of those, because the spoilers, guys, are getting worse and worse. They've started doing this shit, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but they've started doing this shit where they get really, really, really fucking vague. So they do it like, they think they're in the series One Piece itself. Like, you know how in One Piece characters will talk about, like, or like Oda will hint like, is it possible that in this next event he will show up or something like that? Could that man be behind all of this or something like that? That's how characters talk in the fucking manga, right? Or that's how Oda talks like in interviews. These spoiler dudes think that they're anime characters or some shit. They literally talk like it's so cringe, man. So basically what I'm saying is like I saw one of the spoiler tweets which is just like something along the lines of like, these fans will be really happy or something like that. Fans of that man will be like, this is not an exact quote. I'm giving you the gist of the type of way that they're speaking, which is just so cringe. Fans of that man will be happy or disappointed. That's what they're talking about now. Like, just Dude, they suck so much. They suck so much. What do they add to? They suck so much, dude. Drek the Drek says, yeah, but how's blind lead Admiral Isho going to do his paperwork? That's the best part. He doesn't have to, right? He doesn't have to. T-Bone. I'm going to put T-Bone in A. I'm going to put him in B. He's just not big enough of a character to be an A, but I'm going to put him at the head of B. These aren't really ordered by tiers, but consider T-Bone to be ordered. T-Bone is awesome. T-Bone is the most, maybe even more pure than Fujitora. No, because Fujitora is smart in that he questions the world government, everything like that. That's ultimately more important, having a good heart and being open-minded. But T-Bone, even if he doesn't question the world government, etc., he is the single most stupidly pure Marine. He ripped off his own uniform and stuff to help his guy. Like, yeah, let's keep him here. Okay, brand new. I'm gonna put him in C. Brand new is awesome. I like it every time he shows up. He's always telling us some cool shit. Best announcer in the story, maybe second to Gets or whatever, but brand new is awesome. Let's move this along. Pudding was a good guy. Pudding is like the model for what a Marine is supposed to be. If I remember, this is the guy that tried to send the Marines to do what they're supposed to do, which is free Nami's island, right? So he's a good guy. I'm going to keep him in C. He's one of the first truly good guy Marines we've seen. I'm also going to put this guy up here. I like this dude a lot. This is the guy that gave Kobe a job. I like this dude a lot. I almost want to put him in here, but that's hard to say. Smoker, I'm going to put Smoker in S, but I feel like he doesn't deserve it anymore. He's just... I think Smoker's good character moments because I think he's going through the arc, right? I think the full potential of Smoker's character arc, of fully understanding that I shouldn't be a Marine, maybe defecting to sword, whatever it is, becoming a Straw Hat Pirate. I think Smoker's full arc could be so interesting, and I think he's had some of the best character writing moments throughout the series. Between Alabasta, even parts of Punk Hazard, I really, really think that Smoker's a great character. It's just that when you're used in a certain manner just to hype up characters over and over and over again, it does... that's not what being a good character is about, but it does take away from the initial, appeal of Smoker in many ways, which was that, like, he's a really good Marine. He's a free-thinking Marine, a questioning Marine, but that still believes in bringing justice to pirates, but that's slowly learning and understanding things. And he's a sort of boogeyman for Luffy, I suppose, and is chasing him down everywhere he goes. Now Smoker no longer has any of that, right? So now he's just a dude that's trying to figure out the right path in life, basically. I'm still going to put him in S. Waffle says, plot twist, Zoro's already the greatest swordsman by beating Mihawk in the time skip and is just there for Luffy's dream. Oh my god. So that means that the ranking right now is like... it was King, then Smoker, then Mihawk? Damn. Shanks really threw that duel, huh? Pre-TS he's S, post he's A. Smoker is used as Wharf. You guys know Wharf Effect is basically... I would argue Sanju's uses that for a long time too, but that's kind of been stopped. Wharf Effect is when a character is just used over and over to hype up other characters by having them lose. He's A now. Yeah, I just feel like it's not fair to knock him for losing fights, I suppose, but I think it is in a way when, the full package of what this guy was, part of it was that he is... Smoker, he's the, what is it, white chase Smoker or whatever, right? Like, he's this boogeyman that's on Luffy's tail, and that's like a really exciting part of the story, and that's what makes it more interesting, that the guy that's so dedicatedly hunting Luffy down and chasing him at every turn is also experiencing a character arc at the same time and learning from Luffy and having his own views and beliefs twisted along the way and changed. But once he gets downgraded to just some dude that gets beat up by a lot of characters and is still going through an arc, the arc just becomes less interesting. We have less reason to care because he just starts feeling less significant in the grand scheme of things. Especially just rolling the story feels much less impactful. I'm much more interested in seeing, you know, Garp's character arc, or maybe not arc, but character realizations or whatever he might have, or Kobe's, right? I mean, Kobe doesn't really need some, but characters that feel very relevant to the story. I'm gonna keep Smoker and S just as a legacy pick. Agree with A, to be honest. Okay, I'll give you guys a poll. TV tropes for the win? Yeah. I was in middle school. I read TV tropes. That's where I learned about the Worf effect. Smoker, tier. I'll put him in A. No, I'll keep it. I'll let the poll decide. A. It seems tight. Could be S. A. Alright. It's tight, though. I'll keep him in A. My personal opinion, I think Smoker has the potential to be the single most interesting Marine in the series, depending on how far his character arc takes him. Because he goes from, like, the very beginning arc, Lokedown, the defining aspects of his personalities, he's preaching to Tashigi, remember, never trust a pirate. That's what he's preaching to her at the very beginning. That's who Smoker is from the beginning. To see him go all the way to maybe, like, really, really being on Luffy's side would be a great character arc. Not saying he has to become a Straw Hat, but I mean, like, on his side in spirit, fighting on the right side at the final war, right, against the Marines, etc. Tashigi, if Smoker's an A, then Tashigi's a fucking... I mean, I like Tashigi, it's just that I really think that she gets dragged through the mud too often in the story with very little to show for it in reverse. I'm gonna put Tashigi here, alright? I don't think C's that bad. I fucking love Kobe. I'm putting him in S. I don't think he's as strong as some people think, and here's just the only evidence I'll put for it. And maybe I get proven totally wrong next chapter, or in the next couple chapters or something, but this is Kobe right now, right? He's running around with, this ball and chain. Note the use of two hands to hold this. He's out of breath. He's not... I just don't know, man. He's not looking to... Like, this is a very generic sort of handicap. It's just a ball and chain. Like, this should be nothing. He's not a devil fruit user. This is just a generic fucking ball and chain. This is like... Hold on. Hold on. Maybe I could find something for this. Has anyone seen Robin Hood? Like the old school movie? Like the animated one? Has anyone seen it? I like it. That's one of my favorite Disney movies. Oh shit, what's going on here? Hello? Okay. So you see this? Right now... So right now I feel like I'm scaling Kobe to about these guys. This is for some reason the first memory I have when I think of like a prisoner just walking around with like a ball and chain. I'm scaling Kobe to about these guys. Like why is he, you see this shit? Let's look at this. And then, Oh no. I was like, is it 81 out already? Just, like, look at the difference between these two images, because I feel like there really isn't any. Like, we got this, and then we got these guys. And it's just like, yeah, is Kobe basically raccoon level? Or whatever these guys are? I guess raccoon level. Like, why is he having so much trouble? Because, do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, if this was anybody else, like, imagine it's Sanji or something like that. Wouldn't he have fucking got... Or, like, imagine it's... Why is the chain still even... Like, why can't he just break it? Do you guys remember, like, Let me see. It's, like, an early chapter in Fishman Island. I think he, like... Or it's a chapter. It's like a chapter where he just like breaks Nami's chains or something like that, or he breaks some chains. Maybe it's in Whole Cake Island. Like Luffy, like Nami's chained up or something, and Luffy like breaks her chains with his teeth. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Am I crazy? You guys know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I'm not trying to slander Kobe. I'm just like, I don't know. PRF says the ball is bigger for the raccoons. Yeah, like, look, I'm just saying, like, come on, man. Like, what's going on here? Like, like, let's just scale this. Like, look at this. And there, by the way, they have sea stone cuffs on. So this is Luffy and Kid in prison, right? And I don't care what anybody says about Kid. He's not weaker than Kobe right now. I know that because I've seen Kobe be defeated by a small metal ball. Right? Like, am I crazy? Can somebody explain this to me? Yeah, Luffy breaks the chains in Punk Hazard, right? He just like, I'm not going to pull it up, but he literally just like bites through some chains and breaks it. Look at this. Did I miss a classic law rant? I'm late since Kid Clip 2K. No. I guess technically we're on a Kobe. I love Kobe. I don't want to do a Kobe rant, but I'm just like, I think that the people that really hype up Kobe, I don't know if they're, I just don't know what to believe. I don't know what to believe. I don't think Kobe's that strong. I know he's not weak. I mean, what he did in chapter 903 is pretty impressive, but I don't think he's like going to be Admiral level by the end of the story because I'm just scaling him right here and I'm just like, look at this. He does not have Kairoseki, right? Like, I mean, he's not a devil fruit user. He's not a devil fruit user, right? So this is just, these are generic balls and like a generic ball and chain for him. And then look at this. Luffy and Kid running around with literal Kairoseki sea stone handcuffs on. And it's just, Kobe's not looking that impressive to me here. I don't know. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised if he's more impressive than we see, but I don't know what to say. Kobe will grow exponentially. If Kobe became like 50 times stronger, right? I think that would get him to, about what we just saw. I think if you multiply Kobe's strength that we're seeing in this chapter by 50, that gets him to about here, in my opinion. So, yeah, let's hope he can get to sea-stoned, base level, Udon Luffy level by the end of the story. Let's hope. Okay, let's finish this out. Let's finish this shit out. Luffy's gold ball. Oh my god, you guys are reminding me of so much shit. This is so sad. Oh my god, this is... Let me just pull it up. This is... What even is this? Like, Luffy... Literally, what chapter is it? Like chapter 300? Probably 299. Like, I'm just saying, man. What? Come on now. This is... Kobe's got to do something next chapter. That's all I got to say. For all you Kobe fans. This ball and chain situation is not looking good. The Outback Pandas, thank you for 20. In my opinion, it would be neat if Green Bull was an actor to explain away his character inconsistencies. Lucci also talks like a government dog, but he doesn't really believe it. He just uses it to abuse his power and justify his actions. Also, Kobe is A. I put Kobe S, man. I think Kobe has some of my favorite moments in the series. I really, really love the few seconds of courage moment. I really, really love that. Maybe he's S. I mean, maybe he's A. I think he's a much better character than Kizaru. Normally I would have said Smoker's way better than Kobe, but it just feels like Smoker as of late has not been, I don't know. I'm going to put Kobe in S. I'm sorry. I'm going to put Kobe in S. Okay, Nezumi. Let's put him at... Well, I can't just put him here because I don't like him. No, I can, because it's not even like a complex sort of character, like a complex sort of a villain or a well-written villain. He's just like scum of the earth. I was never the biggest Corazon fan. People might be surprised to hear that. But I think I have to put him in S just because I think everyone would put him in S. I'm not the biggest Corazon fan. I think partly because I feel like it's just I really, really, really felt like Corazon was... because a lot of the themes and ideas of Dressrosa were so similar to Drum Kingdom, like shockingly similar. I really felt like Corazon and Hero Look. There's a tremendous amount of Corazon just didn't feel like a particularly new character type to me. Obviously, his sacrifice, everything like that, very impressive. It's just, I feel like it was stuff that we've been through before in some sense. Maybe because it's just like the 15th sad One Piece character backstory, whatever that we've gotten, like sad backstory for a kid. It didn't feel that fresh to me, personally. But I understand that Law's backstory is like one of the saddest for a lot of people. You know, I'm not trying to not. I'm trying to take my own personal opinion out of it, basically, because I understand that this is something that a lot of people put as maybe even the best backstory in One Piece. It's just, I guess for me, I feel like we'd seen similar beats play out before many a time, right? I don't think it's even the best backstory in Dressrosa. I think, for me personally, I like Senor Pink's backstory a lot more. And that felt like very fresh, very new. But that's just my take on it. Oh, people are saying Corazon A? I'll happily put him A. I'll dump him in A. I feel like a lot of people just want him to be an S. Guys, let's vote him in A. Let's vote him in A. Can we put him in A? Can we put him in A? Okay, you guys can vote. I will happily put him in A. I think he definitely deserves A. I don't personally put him in S, but I just assumed that people loved Corazon so much they'd get mad at me for not putting him in S. Okay, let's get him to A. Let's get him to A. We can break them. We can break this down. It's only 57%. We can get it to A. 5 seconds. A. 5 seconds. Okay. It's at 47%. We can almost do it. 54. Almost. All right. 5, 4. We're almost there. 3, 2, 2.5, 1.5. Can I vote? Am I able to vote? All right, 1 second. God damn it. You guys fucking suck. All right. You know what? It's my stream. He stays in A. I don't care. My vote counts as 3%. We're going to call it the swing vote. Damn. Corazon's really going to be in the same tier as Helmeppo. I love Helmeppo. I don't care what anybody says. Helmeppo's hilarious. It's one of my favorite comedy moments is genuinely like, I feel like it's this 433, 32. This whole scene, by the way, where Garp busts in, yells at Luffy and everything like that, then tells his men to fix the door. They get mad at him. He's like, this whole scene is fucking hilarious. Hold on. Well then, guys, go fix this wall. Hey, how can you be so selfish? Why did you break it in the first place if we'll end up having to fix it? Because it's cool to enter the scene like that. Don't break things for such a ridiculous reason. We'll fix it, but you better help us. Hey, okay. The next scene is Garp. The next scene is Garp literally just fixing the wall that he broke it to look cool. So this whole scene's really funny. It's obviously preceded by the funny shit of like Garp and Luffy having their hilarious argument of Garp fighting Luffy, they're both falling asleep, him getting mad at Luffy for falling asleep while being... This whole scene is very funny, and it's capped off with Kobe and Helmeppo showing up, and, it's me, Kobe, don't you remember? Of course we remember Kobe. Yeah, we love you, Kobe. And then this dude, looking pretty cool. Hold on a minute, guys, you don't realize who I am, do you? Ooh, it's me. The answer's Helmeppo. The guy who almost drove you to the death penalty, Roronoa Zoro. This is, by the way, I think this should be almost impossible to forget. Because regardless of how weak he is, he literally nearly got you killed and starved you for, I don't know, like a month, close to, something like that. Then finally they remember. Then I love this, which is like... I still can't forgive them. He's still... He was obviously in the wrong, but they did fuck up his life really bad. And for them, it doesn't, like, even register in their memory. I love the fact that, like, through all this, like, it's not like they had a cool reunion or anything where they were able to square away their differences. He's still pissed, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, Helmeppo stays in A because of that scene. Django goes in A. No, he doesn't. Fuck. Django and Full Body or sorry, not Django. I mixed them up. They're a pair. These characters are awesome. I don't care what anybody says. They're both cooler than Hina. I love Django and Full Body. I think their dynamic duo is great. Sentomaru I'll put in B. There's not much to Sentomaru. Axan Morgan was a fine villain, but he goes here. X Drake. I'll put him in B. He's disappointing. Put him here. Saul goes in S. Love Saul. Kong is like put him in D for former fleet admiral, like commander in chief of the whole operation. We're not really getting much out of the dude. Bellemere I'm putting in S. Bellemere is a beautiful character, beautifully written character. Sengoku I think is a solid A. I think Sengoku's a good character. Sengoku's a good character because what I like is that he's not a character. He's a little bit different than a lot of these other characters in that, with somebody like Aokiji, you can see the transformation he kind of had over the course of the Ohara incident, to him doubting himself, to post Ohara incident. I think he even learned something over what happened with the Strats and Robin, and he changed his mind about certain things. Then in the Fallout of Marineford with his battle with Akainu, and where he's at in life now, he's going through a really interesting arc with opening his eyes, right? Sengoku is interesting because he initially seems like such a hard ass, doesn't question anything, right? Always plays strict by the rules and all of that stuff. He just seems like that type of a dude. It's hard to tell why he's even friends with Garp, right? Why are they even on the same page? Sengoku's just this nerdy pencil pushing by the book head of the Marines, right? And then over time, I think that's what's cool. Like over time, and he's very new. He's not evil about it like Akainu, but he's not open-minded like Saul. He'll follow authority, right? He's kind of like what Aokiji initially was like, right? But I think what's really, really cool is that you find out later on that there was more going on with him than you initially expected, and he is a more complex character who does think about more things than he initially let on. And I think him letting go of like his relationship with Corazon, that secret dynamic, him choosing to let Law go out of respect for the person that they both loved. And also it helps that his personality's become a little more lighthearted and less stuck up as of late because he has all of this responsibility removed. It really makes you look at him in a different light because, especially seeing the much more calm, funny Sengoku who's making jokes and eating crackers and stuff like that, you kind of go back and understand, like, he just has a high level of responsibility that's thrust upon his shoulders, he's got he's got a lot of shit, right? And at the end of the day, he's far from perfect, but a lot of the stuff that he says is true, and you kind of need a nerdy pencil pusher dude like that at the head of the Marines. And he understood that Akainu is not a good choice to lead the Marines next. He understood that Aokiji is more similar to him, right? He also knew when it was time for him to step down. He's a much more balanced character in retrospect, and I think that that's cool, where you have a character that seems one way, seems somewhat unlikable. Just kind of a lame dude that's a little annoying and, doesn't really have our sympathy that much. He's not evil or whatever, but then over time you get the layers to it and you can understand more where he's coming from, and obviously he could have been better and done a lot more, but you can respect him more and maybe feel more for him in his position. Helmeppo over Suru is crazy. Helmeppo's funny as fuck. Okay. Helmeppo doesn't belong in this tier. Fine, I'm moving Helmeppo down. There's no reason he should be in the same tier as Corazon. But I'm not putting him lower than this tier. Helmeppo's too funny. He's too funny to be lower. Also, no, you know what? No. I can defend Helmeppo. Helmeppo had I think that out of all of the cover stories, you could make an argument, out of all the One Piece cover stories, Helmeppo has the best character arc in a cover story. Right? I think just because it happened in a cover story, we underrate it. But Helmeppo had a great character arc over the course of a One Piece cover story. Helmeppo was just this most one-dimensional, spoiled ass little like bratty King Joffrey esque, spoiled kid, right? Living off of daddy's authority and name and everything like that. He's just this brat, and he's the most whiny, annoying, little irritating character. And then over the course of a cover story, and like he nearly kills Kobe. He bullies Kobe. He nearly kills Kobe. Then over the course of a cover story, you see him like stand up to his father. Like you see so much change, and you see him actually not only begin to care about Kobe, but defend Kobe, risk himself for the sake of this dude that he was once ready to kill. You see so much change over Helmeppo, and then I would argue that Helmeppo's because Kobe at the end of the day, he's got a crazy glow up, but at the end of the day, we all know that he's the type of character in One Piece that, they've got a good heart, good moral resolve and everything like that at the core of it. They're supposed to eventually become something special, right? They're supposed to get a glow up. Helmeppo was never supposed to get a glow up. Helmeppo was one of the most immediately unlikable, pathetic characters that we'd ever seen. Kind of like the classic, he's like a Stelly before we had Stelly, right? What's crazier? Kobe getting a glow up or Stelly getting a glow up? Imagine if we saw Stelly in the future basically having reformed his ways, having learned something, actually protecting Sabo or something like that. He got a really good character arc. I'm putting him back. Fuck you guys. Before my argument was just that he's funny, then I forgot that there's actually there's a really good whole argument for it. Let me take a look at the cover story again. Maybe I'm overrating what happened in the cover story. I don't remember the full details of it. One Piece cover story, Helmeppo. Let's take a look. Let's look at it together. Let's look at this together, and we can decide. I think he has the best character arc in a cover story. I might be wrong, though. I think Django and Full Body did, too. I might be crazy. Okay, so real quick skim, right? Real quick skim, because we're pretty much done. Okay. Oh, you're working with this guy. I don't like this guy. Helmeppo having to work. Doesn't like working. The roomies. Oh, no, my dad's gonna die. Or something. Oh, Garp's here. Garp defeats Axan Morgan. Axan Morgan confirmed Admiral level. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Helmeppo, I don't know if he does that much, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, never mind. It's just Kobe being brave. It's just Kobe being brave. It's just Kobe being brave. I thought I remembered Helmeppo doing something. Oh, Helmeppo stands up to his dad. He stands up to his dad. That's important. I do remember that. You know what? I take it back. He's going back to B. I exaggerated his story in my head. I remember someone really stood up to the Marines, but it was Kobe at the end of the day. It is good that he changed his, the essence of who he is, and he learned a lesson. Alright. Okay. So we're going to put Helmeppo back in B. And that's basically it. Harmon says, Morj, it was in the anime where Helmeppo did that well. Yeah, I think that was one of the few cover stories that they animated, which is why that one, the buggy, I can understand why the anime, as much as I hate that the anime stopped doing cover stories, I heard it was because, it's hard to get good ratings when you're adapting stuff that doesn't have the Straw Hats. I can kind of understand that because I remember, you're binge watching the anime to catch up to One Piece the first time. And you watched 2 episodes straight of Buggy in chibi form with no torso or anything like that, trying to fight to survive on Gaimon's island. And it's basically, how irrelevant of a storyline can it get? I think it is genuinely difficult to think of a lower stakes, less exciting plot line to follow than in all of One Piece than Gaimon, a dude who's literally just a guy that's stuck in a treasure chest, So less capable than the average person, fighting a similarly miniature-sized individual, Buggy, who is basically severely handicapped and yeah, is less capable than a toddler in that form, right? It's basically an arc, a couple episodes devoted to seeing, yeah, two children, two toddlers essentially fight against each other. No, obviously they're relevant. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, imagine you're watching One Piece weekly and you're like, okay, I don't need to revisit Gaimon. I know why he's relevant. I put out videos on why he's relevant. Those were actually some of my first videos. Okay, it's more. I'm just saying, like, when you're watching it, this is not the content I want to be watching. I get it. The shame is just that nowadays the cover stories are much more exciting things because the world is so much more fleshed out and there's so many more characters that we want to see. Like, there's a raid that happened on Whole Cake Island by the Blackbeard Pirates. That's exciting to see. Put that in the anime. It's just that the standard was kind of hit hard by what happened initially, and I don't think it can recover from that, really. Yeah. The peak of East Blue. Gaimon met half the two Yonkos. Yeah. Maybe Gaimon's kind of like a blessing. Like, he sends you on your way to great things. Did Gaimon meet anyone else? Maybe Shanks. Who knows? Sleep on Bogart Man? No. We got him. He made the list. He's right over here. I like that the expression also seems like he's not happy to be put in E tier. Direct says, most of Bellemere's best moments came after she retired. This is more so just Marines that are good. How good of a character is the Marine? Not how good of a Marine are they? I mean, otherwise you would probably just reshuffle to go by power quite a bit. I do think that one of Bellemere's coolest moments is, I mean, this is really badass for a normal human being. It's chapter like 78 or something. This is kind of this is in my opinion one of the more impressive things that a normal human being does, because I think very often in One Piece when we see, just a normal person, not a superpowered person, they're basically meant to just be fodder and completely ineffective against any sort of, Buggy level or above character, right? You need a monster to fight one of those monsters, right? Bellemere is just a normal woman as far as we can tell. Like, she's not super strong or anything like that. She's just a as she explains, she just says, unfortunately, I used to be a Marine. Like, that's all she's got. She's a Marine. She's not a high rank Marine or anything as far as we know. It's basically just saying, like, yeah, I was a police officer once. She's talking to basically like a freak of nature that's like 1,000 times stronger than her. But I don't know. This is one of the more impressive things I've seen just a normal person do in One Piece. All right. Okay, so I think we got a pretty good list here. S tier, great characters: Garp, Akainu, Aokiji, Fujitora, Kobe, Saul, Bellemere. Yup. These are, I'd say, very good characters. Like, these are good characters. Smoker, I think he has potential to be at the very tippy top of S tier. Once I would have put him there. He's fallen from grace a little bit, but he can turn things around. Kizaru, I think, is just great as is. I don't think Kizaru needs to be anything more than he is. He's a very dangerous, very fun weapon. He's a very dangerous weapon that's always he's always a fun sight to see on page, right? Because he's got a cool ability, a very funny, trolly personality. He's just exactly what you want out of, I suppose, one of the top Marine henchmen left. He doesn't need to be some sort of grand philosophical figure or anything. Corazon, no explanation needed. Sengoku, I went on length about. Honestly, Sengoku, once upon a time, would have put way lower, but in light of the recent reframing of his character and greater nuance to who he goes there. Then these are all Marines I like. I'm gonna put Momonga. I feel like Momonga doesn't belong here. I mean, these are all just Marines I like, that I think are cool, that are memorable in their own way. These guys should maybe go down, if I'm being honest. X Drake, big disappointment, but I'll just keep him here. And then these are just like, these are Marines that you're gonna. there's not a ton going for these Marines, but maybe they have a good moment here or there. Maybe they're badass in a certain way, or maybe they're just funny in a certain way, or maybe they're wildly disappointing in a certain way, such as Tashigi, which is why she can't be any further up despite having a ridiculous amount of screen time relative to everybody else in her tier. And then these guys are either just don't like their personality, or there's not much to say about them, or they're extremely, extremely pathetic for what their role in the story felt extremely pathetic for what their role in the story is set to be. So that's what we got. Ender Ayanami says X Drake more like L Drake. I'll keep him in B. I don't know what to say about X Drake. Drake is the lamest. You know what? I'll just dump him here. I don't care. You can go there. D for Drake, I don't mind. Okay. I think we're good. Where's Legend Condoriano? Easy S tier. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was, I think, honestly, I didn't really know what the tier list would look like because I was forgetting a shit ton of Marines. I was like, there's only like 10 prominent Marines, and then I forgot about all these guys. And then look at all the guys we didn't rank. So, if I were to rank someone like Virgo, because if we pretend, like Virgo is a character, I'd probably put him around here. I think Virgo was actually a really cool threat over the course of Punk Hazard. It's just, over time, we realized that he's really not a big deal, right? Over the course of Punk Hazard, it felt like he might be... There was a period of time in Punk Hazard where it felt like he could be the strongest character on that island. Then over the course of things, it was just like, Luffy's going to be stronger, Law's stronger, right? Like, Zoro was probably stronger at that point. Like, Zoro's definitely stronger at that point, there's an argument. I don't know. But Virgo was a cool threat for its time. All right, guys. I think we're good. I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for tuning in. And, yeah, this is our final list.